this session is based on the thoughts of founding fathers of quantum mechanics. To start this session, I would take this honor to invite Swami Samvit Somgiriji on stage to chair the session. Swamiji is Mahanti in Sri Laleshwar Mahadev Mandir, Shiv Mat Bikaner, and Sri Somnath Mahadev Mandir, Somnath Sansarovar, Mount Abu. Swamiji is having B in Mechanical Engineering from MBM Engineering College, Jodhpur, and he also worked as a lecturer at MBM Engineering College, University of Jodhpur. Swamiji received Diksha of Paramhans Sannyas from the most revered Gurudev, Swami Ishwaranand Giriji. Swamiji also authored more than 20 spiritual books and released more than 50 CDs on the spiritual aspects. Apart from all these things, Swamiji is having some more social activities. Say, for example, he is having Sansthan for the objective of developing world-class Indian shooters on the basis of spiritual and yogic approach. About 40 students practice in the institute and some of them have won gold medals. From this shooting Sansthan, 4 shooters have participated in international level and represented India and won medals for the country. Apart from this, Swamiji has set up the dispensary and libraries. So, with all this, all the due respect, I would like to call Swamiji and would like to hand over this stage to him. Thank you.
आने के बाद में बोलूं आप आने के बाद हाँ जाने के बाद
So may I request to our speakers to please join us on stage. May I request to see Varun Agrawal ji, Director Bhaktivedanta Institute, Kolkata, and Professor Debashish Khan from ITBHU, Varanasi. I now request to Swamiji to please introduce our speakers to the audience.
ओम स्वागतम। प्रत्येक व्यक्ति में एक व्यक्त रूप होता है, एक व्यक्ताव्यक्त रूप होता है और एक अव्यक्त रूप होता है। व्यक्त में भी अति अल्प मेरे पास में यह वर्णन आया है, मैं उनकी अनुमति से इसको बोलना चाहूँगा। आदरणीय वरुण अग्रवाल, श्री वरुण अग्रवाल graduated from the prestigious Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, IIT Kanpur. Obtaining his B.Tech in aerospace engineering, he worked on a project of solar-powered aircraft and was ranked first in his entire department. However, his longing for something deeper about life always bothered him, which finally culminated in meeting the illustrious scientist saint, Dr. T.D. Singh, His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Das Swami, the founder director of the Bhaktivedanta Institute. This changed his life, and after finishing his graduation, he began studying ancient Vedantic wisdom under his guidance, dedicating himself completely for the cause of helping humanity through interface of scientific temper and spiritual wisdom. From last 15 years, he is currently the director of the Bhaktivedanta Institute, Kolkata, India. Shri Varunji is also the secretary of the Vedanta and Science Educational Research Foundation, a body having various centers in different parts of the India to promote and preserve Vedic heritage through education and research. He is deeply involved towards the completion of the University of Bhagavat Culture, Imphal, Manipur. The university, a unique of its kind, was launched and envisioned by Dr. Singh as one of the greatest centers of learning like ancient Nalanda. It aims to promote the universal scientific and philosophical relevance of the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Vedanta, and other Vedic literatures within the framework of modern culture and educational milieu for the welfare of humanity, while some of its parts like school and arts and cultural troop are already functioning. The university is soon launching its formal courses. Besides his various involvements, Sri Varuna is a frequent traveler and travels all over India and abroad. He is also the editor of Bhakti Vedanta Institute's reputed science and spirituality journal, Savijnanam. Now I'll request Sri Varunji to pour his grace on all the audience.
So thankful to Swamiji. I think it is an honor to have you here and be with you and hear your words and introducing us. Well, I was thinking that there are so many good scholars which have presented their thoughts, and people like us, do we really have to say something? So this session will be little light, relaxed, and you don't have to tax too much brains. I think neuroscience and AI you have already taxed too much in the morning. And yesterday whole conceptions of various things we have undergone. So I thought let us go it simple, light and relaxing and short. So don't worry, and we will go slowly into very simple thoughts. So what we try to share is today, by the blessings of our acharyas, gurus and all the scientists who did this work, their thoughts, few thoughts about these people. Let me pose a simple problem for you, just a simple problem to put us everybody here in this room back, because our minds are very freakly, right? We may be here, we may be thinking somewhere else. Okay, so this is a small piece of whatever it is. It is here. Okay, so the question is, what is this and where it is? Very simple. What is this object and where it is? Well, I myself don't know what it is. I think case of this. Okay, that is simple. So what the questions are two, to put it simply, is that what is this object and where it is? Very good. And where it is? On the table. Oh, with all good love and faith to all of you and your wisdom and thoughts, quantum physics tells you that you can neither answer what it is nor where it is. Sorry, and very sorry. And there may be big professors, scholars here of quantum physics, and they may be knowing more partial differential equations, and they maybe get angry with me, but this is a fact which Heisenberg himself told, Schrödinger himself told, Planck himself told. You cannot define this, and you cannot define the position of this place, position of this object. Why? Why like that? So to define it, you need to defining has a lot of details in that. There are level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. You can go on and on. First level 0 is, it's just a cover. Level 1 is, what is its shape and size. Level 3 is, why the curve is like that. Why can you define this shape? Put that on the graph, on the mathematics. Level 4 is, go further, the color, can you define the color? When the question of color comes, light comes. When the light comes, photon comes. When the photon comes, you have to go back to the sleep, because we don't know what is photon. Issues get deeper and deeper. I am not stopping here. You can go level 6, how photon comes to my eye. Level 7, how, that is not also clear, how photons comes and interacts with my retina, where it goes, up to where, that's still better. One day we can go further and go into sodium ions and channels and all. Level 8, who is seeing the photon? Level 9, who is perceiving the photon and finally understanding this object? No idea. So it gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and what we have discussed is very simply the problem of observation in quantum physics. When you have an object here, what is observation? How you define the observation of this object? Observation has one part as an object, another part as instrument, the eyes or the microscope which I am using, and there is a third part which is finally interpreting the object, the data coming from instrument. What is that third part? That is von Neumann's detailed description of these things. So that is one part, levels of understanding of this object. Where it is? So next question, the simple one answer is, you will define me a position of this object, right, in space. The very word position is not defined. Don't feel it bad, it is a reality. I will show you, Heisenberg tells about this. The very word position is not defined, and hopefully you will never able to define it. I also studied physics, and don't worry, we studied Newton mechanics, all this, how we solve the equations of Newton mechanics. When I say position you cannot define means in real sense of terms. Why? I will tell you further when we go inside, because space itself is not defined. If you don't define the space, how do you define position? If you don't define the position, the very word position remains ambiguous, then you cannot define position of anything in real sense of terms. So quantum mechanics goes very deep, very, very deep, and it's your own journey to understand it. It's we can share with you, and just like putting open thoughts for you to share, but tell you frankly that quantum mechanics is not what it is taught. I also did quantum mechanics 101 course, 2011 course in IIT Kanpur 20 years back, and we know how the way the quantum mechanics is perceived in a normal world. You have some Schrodinger equation, you have partial differential equation, you have operators, and you solve them, electron in a box, and more or less quantum mechanics ends there. But that's not even the beginning of quantum mechanics. Heisenberg told that actually quantum mechanics, the real quantum mechanics is lost in the mathematical formulation. So I will recommend you few books. You don't have to take my words. You go through these books by these founders and make your own worldview. I'm sure it will be a very different worldview. Okay, to give a small glimpse into that. So Dr. Singh, I think this person, by now everybody is aware of. He is our guru, he is the founder of this institution. He himself was a scientist, and the beauty of this person is that the way he trained his whole team, all of us, was very open-minded. Generally I found when I go to saints and sages, with all due respects to all of them, that but this person, because being trained in the scientific community, in the open mind, he always told us, all of us, take this and understand yourself, not that you take this and then this is what reality is. And that is a big contribution of bringing, he kind of made a whole new lineage of broad-minded parampara. Okay, so I will quickly go through a few of the classical mechanics, classical part, this few, and these to just show you that how this beauty in this nature has been driving actually the scientists, the thinkers. You take, I stopped at there at some point, but you can go further levels of that reality, that object, further question. One of the question which comes about the beauty in the nature, and that beauty, that like we have small set of 10, 20, 30 letters of alphabets, and they are Maxwell's equations, and they are driving the whole motors. Whole world is moving because of this, the movement of these motors, everything, that dynamo, everything, right? And the right side is a chlorophyll molecule, which is a very mysterious molecule. Our life is dependent on that, in a sense, more or less. Plants, that. And this little magnesium atom, you can say, sitting at the center of this chlorophyll, is kind of our lifeline. And how it is put there, what is the beautiful arrangement, it's a mysterious, and that drives the curiosity and the research. Okay, so here is a small introduction. This is Planck's book. This is Max Planck, which all of you know, Planck's constant. Where is science going? Please note this book. This is a masterpiece book. Where is science going? I was thrilled to read this book. You will see the kind of depth these people had. Okay, one of the thing also to make you note of that is that if we, as Heisenberg told in one of his books, that if you really want to understand quantum mechanics, go to the history of development of quantum mechanics. Without that, no one can understand what is actually quantum mechanics, what are the real issues involved. So, the history is very, very important. Once you go into history, you will see how these people, Bohr, Dirac, Heisenberg, Pauli, and one more, okay, these 4 or 5 people, they were so much in conversation and what you call not a conflict, it's a word, is so much in dialogue to understand what is going on in nature. That is actually, there you will see the quantum mechanics coming out, not in the operators, quantum mechanics comes out. So, you will see this book, Max Planck, Where is Science Going? How he takes from quantum mechanics to the question of deeper and deeper questions. I will show you 1 or 2 glimpses. You can yourself read it, I think online and all. Also, please note that the volume which we have brought out in the conference, the Quantum Physics and Consciousness volume, it is kind of independent volume. It is not a conference just proceedings. It has around 10-12 articles from the speakers of this conference, as well as around 8-10 articles from invited speakers around the world. So, in that, first section is devoted to founders of quantum mechanics, and you please read that section very thoroughly if you are really interested to understand the depth of the theme which we are talking about in this conference today. You read that first section. If you are more interested, go to the original books where references are given, then you see the kind of depth which we are referring to, and it's up to you. Your is a limit, how much you can we can comprehend. Like I am limited, you are also limited, but we can try as much as. So, this is, and then what is life? This is second book by Schrodinger, the Schrodinger who gave us Schrodinger wave equation, very famous monograph, tiny monograph, and in that it is combined nowadays. He had a book which is separately earlier, now it is combined, called Mind and Matter. So, what Schrodinger has to do with mind and matter is a very simple question. He has given a wave equation, he has a psi, you can solve the operator given boundary conditions and all. what is the question of bringing mind and matter, and why Schrödinger is writing one step ahead, what is life. There is something very deep inside. This is not a very deep. Why he is writing that and what he writes, you will get amazed. Yeah, you can refer to this book, read it thoroughly. It will not only help you the depth of the subject we are talking, also into many research frontiers it guides, because he had very good thoughts. He could see actually, he told where our conceptions are failing, are limiting, getting limited to. You will see those things. My brain is too small to understand everything. Okay, then right side is Heisenberg, physics and beyond. This is the conversations which Heisenberg, Dirac, Pauli and 3-4 of them had. These are all conversations. You can go through this book. Very good. This you will not find anywhere. This kind of conversations which they touch every topic and which has been raised because of the issues in the foundations of quantum mechanics. They touch everything deep and they come to spirituality, logic, everything because of those. And then you have right side, bottom, you have philosophical problems of quantum physics. This is also by Heisenberg. Heisenberg wrote, actually when we say Heisenberg, we only know uncertainty principle or a couple of 2-3 things. But Heisenberg wrote more than I think 5-6 beautiful books. Physics and Beyond, Philosophical Problems of Quantum Physics. The another book which I like very much personally, if you are really interested, that's called Physics and Philosophy by Heisenberg. Go through it, just go to Amazon, order it today if you are really interested. You and read this book. In 1 week you can finish it and you will see then you again read it after 1 month, you will see the deeper thoughts flowing. So, physics and philosophy, which I have not put I think here. There is a small monograph which is now as a book already published now by Niels Bohr, Light and Life. So, what this person is, the person who gave us Bohr atomic model, what is the question of writing about life? Where question comes? Light and life, that too also connecting with light. What is the question of light and life? Actually, if you see, the quantum mechanics development happened like this. It started with light, came to atom, and then finally came to life. Very beautiful. Realize this, think about it. Means it started with light, quantas and all. This light is there, and then you all Planck's beginning of the quantum mechanics, the Planck, this how that Professor Ghosh showed you, right? The spectrum, difficulties to explain the spectrum and all. Then finally Planck comes with there is a quanta, the discrete of the quantum. Same thing Bohr applied in atomic model inside the atom, that electrons they do also follow that. Why he applied it, there is a big history behind that. There were issues in see what happens that from my childhood I have been given a very small and very simple picture of atom. From my childhood, when I open my textbooks and the way the conceptions are made in my brain, very hardwired strong. Atom is this, we have a nucleus, there is electron there, proton there, electron is moving around, and neutron, proton, electron is moving around. Is this the atom? From 500 years we do not know what is atom, even today. Why? We do not know what is electron. Do we know what is electron? अगर इलेक्ट्रॉन हो जाता पता मालूम पड़ जाता तो क्वांटम फिजिक्स का कोई मजा ही नहीं रह जाता. Whole quantum physics is that you don't know what is electron. You see, when I say to you, it sometimes behaves as particle, sometimes as wave. You say very openly, freely, and just throw the sentence in air. But it hurts the electron and me both very much. Frankly speaking, it is not that simple. De Broglie was puzzled, who gave the de Broglie himself, that what is the meaning of this both particle and wave? I don't know myself who gave this, who got Nobel Prize for that. How do we understand ourselves? And until I understand the meaning of this, how do I understand what is electron?
So we trying to confine and not understand the things, we just stop there. That means this, and what it means we have no idea. What is the meaning? Do you see anything in this world, or you have an experience, or you have any comprehension, sometimes as wave, sometimes as particle? No idea. So issues are very deep. Not I am talking, this is what de Broglie told, who has given you de Broglie, that lambda equal to h, whatever this matter waves with all of them talk about. He himself mentioned, you see the book, de Broglie's book, I can tell you later. He mentions that I really don't understand what does this mean, particle and wave together. This is another book, this left side is Schrodinger, Erwin Schrodinger, My View of the World. This is another book, and he will be surprised from India, you will be surprised those from this country that he has a chapter called in this book Vedantic Vision. In this chapter, why is Schrodinger coming to India? Why is getting Upanishad and Vedanta? Why is talking about all this? Where is the link of all this? There is a huge history behind this. I am not a historian, so don't ask me history, but what I saw that he had a lot of difficulty in publishing his book because of this thing. Vedanta, one publisher which I am not naming, had refused it to publish it because of the spiritual connections and all. Finally, it was published by some other publisher, which is now available, but the chapter still is there, so you can read it. Why this Schrodinger from wave equation is coming to Vedantic vision? This My View of the World, Erwin Schrodinger. It's available. You can order it or download it. So this is a glimpse, and our Dr. Khan, Devashish Khan will go into. I am not going into Pauli's work. He will be the expert on that Pauli's explosion is a Pauli person. Pauli is a very interesting person. He worked on, there are books by him, and he will tell you more because he had some introduction to psychology also beside being a very good physicist. So he will tell you details about so his books and all he will tell you. So we have covered, and there are many actually, there are good books, just showing you a small glimpse into the subject. And there is a book by Bohr, if you are interested, it's called Atomic and Human Knowledge. Bohr, you can type it, and if I am missing one word, Atomic and Human Knowledge, something like that. So that is also by Bohr, beautiful book. He talks about life. Okay, so I am skip. So in the beginning, the conceptions of the classical physics, which you see that these scholars, these scientists or thinkers, they had a very good appreciation of the things, and when they discover some formula or they discover some law, and they find out that wow, what a beautiful law it is and how it is made. So those questions come. But when and they had a very good appreciation. Actually, to tell you frankly, somehow, fortunately, I don't know, the way we are trained from our childhood, that's very amazing. When I tell you about Newton, we only know, Newton's law, F equal to ma, Gm1, m2. What this person is, what he did after giving the law, what are his contributions besides just publishing a paper in the journal. There are huge details behind that. What we know only is like 1% of Newton, not even 1%, that law is not even 1% of Newton. So, you see what happens is this, if we really want to understand the scientist's journey, suppose take Max Planck for example, which is subject of today's our conference. Suppose Planck, when he gives this law or equation h equal to h mu, the thoughts which he underwent before giving, the issues which came before to arrive at this equation, and the issues and the conclusions which he drew after giving that equation is immense, which are hardly known. When you go through his books, then you see what really is the issue. That Max Planck talks about question of cause, free will, God's life, everything, and only because of this coming out of the Planck's constant. How come from Planck constant Max Planck is talking about all these issues, you yourself see it. Beautiful. You take the journey. If you are interested, I am sure you will take the journey. Why this person is forced to talk in these issues? They are not interested or they are not required to talk. But I was surprised. Why like that? So that's a journey which we have been undergoing, that forget about this ashram, religion, spirituality, science. As a sincere seeker of truth, bare truth, what it is. What is a bare truth? Forget about my inclinations, your inclination, this inclination, that. Forget all the attachments around. Leave it. I want to understand as much as my little capacity allows what is actually the truth. That kind of feeling you will see in these scholars, in these founding fathers which were there. If you go through their books. Now you don't have to take my words seriously, just go through their books. Beautiful. Faraday has a book called Physics and Faith. You can go through it. Beautiful, lot of things. Faraday himself was actually a religious man, and you will see the insights. Trying to give you a glimpse. In fact, to tell you frankly, irrespective of quantum physics or classical physics, 95% of the scientists, scholars which you have come across till date, more than 95% I think, everybody has a higher conclusions, deeper conclusions for life. You take Maxwell gave a lecture called On Molecules, and in that lecture he tried to give a proof that there is something beyond in this universe which is not visible here for me. Whatever name you want to give, God, X, Y, Z, doesn't matter. But there is something which is very hidden here. With Maxwell, you can read that online lecture on molecules. Ampere had a small booklet called Magnetism and Mysticism. James Joule has a joule, the energy unit use. I forgot James Joule work. I will tell you. His work is called, I forgot. Stokes is a Navier-Stokes, that which equation you should read in fluid dynamics, which we all studied in our earlier days. There is a Stokes. So this Stokes he has a book called Natural Theology. Why this person, from giving the partial differential equation, which is so difficult to solve, of course, how he is going from there to natural theology, you see. Schrodinger, I already shared some of the thoughts. Heisenberg, I shared some of the thoughts, ideas. Gauss, mathematician is another beautiful word which we are not covering in this conference today. If you go to mathematics, beautiful. Foundations of mathematics, Gauss, Hilbert, Wheel, everybody, means almost very beautiful word. And that if you go to foundations, there is no question, you don't have to worry about any spiritual matters, consciousness, they will automatically fall at your thought. There is no question. But that, what you have studied, how you have studied, because I also studied, the way study is not that. I will tell you what are the books to go. You go into the foundations of those people. There is a mathematician called Brouwer. L-E-J, Brouwer, B-R-O-U-W-E-R, Brouwer. He was from Netherlands. Beautiful country, very clean and nice. This person, he started a field in mathematics called intuitionism. If you want, you can Google it, find it out, what are the papers published in that field. The field is still continuing. Intuitionism. Gödel published paper on that. He published, actually Brouwer was a topologist, he published like 40 papers in topology, very good renowned journal, and he became famous, and his PhD thesis was on foundations of mathematics. And you see the Brouwer work, I was amazed. I was so amazed that we went to Netherlands. He has passed away already, but we went to his grave, to his house, find out who is there. His lineage is still continuing. There is a professor, student of him, who is still continuing in the university to publish papers in that area. And what is this intuitionism? What he told at the core and heart of this is very simple. If you know the object, finally intuitively. You will not be able to define things finally at some point, you beyond a point. That's the whole intuitionism. To put it in a single sentence means, it goes very deep, it's not an ordinary thing, but if you can really appreciate, or we have to reflect on it. He questioned the number. What is 2, what is 3, what is 1? 2 you will be able to say 1 plus 1. 1, what is 1? 0.5. Don't go into 0.5, you will be more in trouble, because you have to define the decimal also. So when slowly question ends, where is 1, what is 1, and then 1 you will say this is 1, this is 1, you will not be able to define it. What is 1? This is a chapter in Brouwer's book the chapter is called, Can I really prove 2 plus 2 equal to 4? I cannot. शर्म आता है ना बच्चों के सामने, हम लोग 2 plus 2 भी नहीं प्रूव कर सकते. ये फाउंडेशन से घुसना होगा. अगर if you really want to do something fundamental research, not in the name of ऐसे थोड़ा सा घुमा के नहीं, अंदर घुसना होगा. You have to go enter inside the subject. Foundations of mathematics, you have to enter really the subject. So why Brouwer is telling 2 plus 2 equals 4? Why I cannot define 1? Where is actually the issue? You will see the issue. I block at some point, I am not able to define this number. Finally, it will land to a point where I know this much minimum, beyond that I cannot define it. That you know in your chitta, in your intuitively you know, then only further knowledge goes. So it is a whole field, you can go it on and on and on, and sometime we will have a big gathering on this area, mathematics and consciousness or God, whatever. So this is a quote by Stokes, admit the existence of God. So mathematician, there is no doubt. Mathematics I feel very free, because there is no end, because you can talk so many things. In geometry you go, geometry infinite, unlimited things you can talk about. There is no dearth of mathematics is unlimited, and you can talk freely, anybody can talk, because 10 dimensions neither you have seen, neither I have seen. Yet, very simple, let us talk, no problem, we can sit on table, have a chat together, refreshment, and finish the talk. There is no, because both of us have not seen. Actually, problem starts from there only. You know, problem is very serious. I will tell you, if you are really doing research, be careful at every step which you use to do things. I had a colleague, Bhaskar, he is in IIT Guwahati now. So when we were doing our quantum discussions and works and all with him, I saw that whenever we discuss anything, he takes a partial differential equation, use Fourier transform, Taylor series, he just expands it. And I was, we of course read these series and Fourier transform, but why bothered, how he is able to immediately expand it without questioning whether the Fourier series applies here or not. And he just expands it. I said, why don't you find out whether this Taylor series and you know, interestingly, the partial differential equation, the calculus which you use, fx dy dx integrate a to b, right? Your calculus itself fails because you don't know what is space. Calculus assumes that space is continuous. Very strong and hard truth. But it looks like I am challenging too much. No, it's not a question of challenge. It's a question of insights, and we can share and you yourself find out. You see, because the question of space and time, these two things catch in your mind. Keep it logged. This is so fundamental. Everything you do in this world, whether calculus or solve any equations, anything, physical, anything, you will always have to bother these two things. And these two things are not defined at all. I don't know the space around me now, here, whether this is continuous or discrete. Do you know? We have no idea. We have no idea the space around me here, whether this is continuous or discrete. No idea. Time is open question. We don't know what is time. It has been going on and it will go on. And my feeling is that we will never know completely these two things. These are some mathematicians, and I am not going into mathematics today. Okay, so Newton. Let's go into class. Okay, this is Heisenberg. these both are there, Heisenberg and Niels Bohr. So, oh, I forgot a track of time, I think. I was discussing about time and myself forgot the time. So, I hope, so I have, okay, I'm doing, okay. Okay. So, yeah, I will not take much time. I think some of the crest elements which I wanted to focus, share with you, I have put. Okay, fine. So, this is Niels Bohr and Heisenberg. There are discussions which Heisenberg and Niels Bohr had. And Heisenberg goes in the nights and on the walk, and he writes in his books. You see, he says that this is from Physics and Philosophy, that book. He says that why the nature is like that, he cries actually. He says, I used to go and cry in the seashore in the night after discussions with Niels Bohr, why nature is behaving like that, why it is not coming in the grasp, where is the issue? See, this, I will show you the quote. Yeah, here is the quote, this is words from Heisenberg from this Physics and Philosophy, which I was started the lecture with, the words position, which I started with. I think you can, I don't know, you can read it. The words position and velocity of an electron, for instance, seem perfectly well defined as to both their meaning and their possible connections, and in fact they were clearly defined concepts in the mathematical framework of Newton mechanics. But actually they were not well defined as seen from the relational uncertainty. One may say that regarding their position in Newton mechanics they were well defined, but in their relation to nature they were not. You understand the difficulty? To be more precise now here. In Newton mechanics, when I talk about, I neglect the tiny errors which come. But pura reality is only tiny errors which come. You forget that when you talk about this big object, okay, I can neglect this. So, when it comes to Newton mechanics, means you are limiting your range of discussion in this area, right? You define your range. But if you want to talk about that concept in reality, in totality, in the concept related with nature, then I have problems. There comes the real issues. So that's why saying they are well defined, but in relation to their, actually he shows further, you can read it. He says that not only this word position and velocity, whenever you will take a concept beyond a limited range, you will have issues and paradoxes. That's why today we have paradoxes, not ordinary paradox. It's not a puzzle. बच्चों का puzzle नहीं है ये. कुछ गड़बड़ हो गया, solve कर दो, crossword हो गया, कर दो. These are fundamental paradoxes. We have paradox in physics, measurement problem, or Schrodinger's paradox. We have problem in computer science. What is that problem? Halting problem, or whatever you say in different Turings. We have in mathematics, self-referential, foundations of mathematics. We have Gödel's incompleteness. We have problem. You go in philosophy, you have problem, mind-body problem existing for last 500 years. You go in psychology, the problem of perception, what is perception, who is perceiving is a problem. You go in GTR, in relativity, there is a grandfather's paradox, singularities. Everywhere paradoxes are coming, and I just outline it, leave it and go, everything is fine, no problem, everything is progressing, let me have my lunch and everything is fine. But these paradoxes touch you to the heart. They strike you to the heart, to the thinkers who wants to touch the truth. Not for people like ordinary like us who don't know much, but who are not interested in that. Those thinkers they strike. Why? Why this uncertainty? Why these paradoxes are very fundamental. They are not ordinary. Okay, so this kind of thing which you I think hearing it, and I don't want to go it. De Broglie wave associated with everything, mind-like property in the universe. So, like they were discussing yesterday in quantum physics that de Broglie found that we have a lambda wave associated with every matter. So, when I say this mobile is here, there is a wave associated with this mobile, what does it mean? So, I don't know what does it mean. Physics tells me there is a lambda associated with this matter. That is very clear. So, here is a hint. We can take it or forget it or leave it. This Vedic scriptures tell that there is a mind is not just my mind and your mind. Mind is also element in the universe. So which has a wave-like characteristics. This much information we have in. So probably somewhere we are going there. And observer, you know that role of observer, everybody is talking, I think next 2 days, I am not going to do it, how consciousness comes precisely in the picture of this, the quantum mechanics, through measurement problem, through interpretation, through many ways it comes, okay, there are experts in that. They will, and once you have observer, you can have supreme observer, convert the system to the universe and automatically you will have supreme observer. That's not a problem, you can call it God, Lord, anything, that's not a big deal. So Heisenberg, after conversation of Indian philosophy, some of the ideas of quantum physics that it seems so crazy suddenly made much more sense. Schrödinger cat paradox, I think by now, okay, please wrap up in 15 minutes. We'll wrap up in 5 minutes, not a problem. Okay, so I think I am role of observer, consciousness. Okay. So these Solvay conferences, you are now already very clear about it. These people, all giants were sitting. Okay. It seems to be a scientist of the world is supposed. Okay, so this is Heisenberg again. On the surface of the glass of nature science, it may look atheistic, but at the bottom of the glass, God is waiting for you. So when Heisenberg went deep, actually, in the last chapter of his book, he wrote that last chapter of that he writes in the Physics and Philosophy that these concepts like mind, soul, God, all those concepts which have been talked about in mystic traditions, in spirituality and various traditions, it seems that we will no longer be able to discard them now. The physics has taught us a lesson. And he also says very clearly, we may not be able to precisely prove them, but at the same time we will not be able to discard them too. And he gives the example like imaginary number, root of -1, right? We all use root of -1, day and night, Schrödinger equation, I comes, everywhere I is coming, है ना? Nowhere no problem I, but what is I? ये I को तो I दिखता नहीं, ये I अलग है, वो I, तो कितने I हैं देखो, एक छोटा सा I है ना, imaginary I, एक ये I और एक real I, capital I, which your Professor Barua so nicely talked yesterday. So this imaginary number, he gives examples that like this root of -1, this concept, this number has come in mathematics and it is working fine and we don't know it is what it is, but still we are using it day and night and it works fine. Similarly, these concepts you will be forced to bring in, even if you don't understand and precisely explain, able to explain them. Very clear. He gives you another example, infinity. Actually, mathematics you can talk so many things, pi, infinity, everything we can talk. Every one lecture can be for one, you know, pi. You can have one lecture whole on pi. There are books. You have whole books on pi. You have whole books on infinity. You have books on imaginary numbers. Hundreds and thousands of books you get on imaginary numbers. What is this number? From where it came? And for us, we generally don't bother and we use it and pass the examination and forget the textbook. So he gives example of infinity too, that like infinity, you see when infinity came in mathematics, so many paradoxes have come, this Cantor and all involved in that, but still infinity works very fine, though we don't understand what is infinity. As soon as you get integration, 0 to infinity, fx dx, integrate it and solve it, right? कभी पूछते नहीं है infinity क्या है, लेकिन काम करता है, मालूम भी नहीं क्या है. तो हाइजेनबर्ग यही कह रहा है, ऐसे ही आदत डाल लो, बहुत चीज़ों को आपको यूज़ करना पड़ेगा बिना समझे, उसको भगाओ मत, बिकॉज उसके बिना काम भी नहीं चलेगा तुम्हारा. समझ रहे हैं? वेरी प्रिसाइज एंड नाइस. वी कैन गो मोर डिटेल, बट this is your journey. So this is Schrödinger, that now we need a transfusion from the Eastern thought, and which I think all of you know. This, okay, I'll give you one slide after that and then we end. So before going to that, one thing I wanted to caution you is this. In between when I was speaking, I stopped that point. You see, Von Neumann actually mentioned this, I saw very nice, so I thought better to share with all of you, and you can. You see, the concepts in biology or in normal whatever sciences we study, mostly these concepts we imbibe. Like you take a cell, you go inside the cell, you have macromolecules, lipids, proteins and all. You go inside the molecules, you have atoms. You go inside the atoms, you have electrons, protons, right? So how do I explain, come back, zoom out and explain the concept of this cell? Finally, I want to use the laws of physics and all and understand those. That's how finally it boils down to. We have quantum biology, we have beautiful people talking about quantum mechanics role in life sciences from many perspectives. Quantum effects in mitochondria and unlimited, not a problem. Fine, very good. If you go on, that is one level, go deeper, next level. Many of the major concepts in physics are also imbibed from somewhere, and without knowing that whether they are valid here or not. Please mark this question. Many of these concepts in physics are imbibed from mathematics, and without knowing whether they are valid here or not. What is the difference? In mathematics, you are not bothered about whether they touch reality. In physics, as soon as you bring them, they have to talk about reality. So, like the concepts in which I was talking to you about the space. Mathematics, we have a big problem, what is space? Questions goes around from last 500 years. Today also there is a conference on space in different parts of the world. What is space? But then without knowing space, you bring many of the things from mathematics, calculus, x, y, z, use that in physics, and then you will end up in paradoxes. Very cautious, very cautious. And this is not one. There are so many beautiful principles in mathematics which are taken and used in physics, and you have paradoxes. Principle of excluded middle, so many. And Broad challenge many of these principles you cannot just use anywhere which you like. You have limitations, assumptions, axioms, so please be careful. So this was one point, you be careful about that, because when you talk about reality as such, when you talk about specific domain, Newton mechanics, mathematics, that is fine. When you talk of reality, be very cautious from where you are using the concepts. So I think I will end here, give you a small glimpse of one slide which all of you know that. So my personal request is that this life is very precious as a human being, and we got this, and all of you are definitely very good intelligence, beautiful intelligence, and the time is very short. We have only window of 50 to 60 years, not much, right? So 50 to 60 years, nothing in the face of universe, very small time. In this small time, we have to improve our consciousness, get things better, and get to deeper realities of life. So please utilize this time very cautiously and nicely. You are already expert, I think, and you must be knowing all this. So Vedanta cautious about that. The first shloka of Vedanta is that this life is very short. Again it is told, and find out about yourself, about the God, and what is the relationship with Him, so that one can be permanently, eternally happy. Thank you very much. Fine.
वरुणो वारको देवा, वरुण वह है वो हमको संसार सागर से पार ले जाता है, और वरुण जल तत्व का अधिष्ठात्रा है। सूक्ष्म जल तत्व से रसनेन्द्रिय सत्वगुण के प्रधान को लेकर के प्रकट होती है। सो थैंक यू सो मच फॉर sumptuous prasadam which he has given us. Now interaction session will be after the meals. So again you take the meal prasadam. After half an hour we'll meet here again.
नहीं पॉली आपके लिए नहीं।
जल्दी थी, नहीं तो और मैं आपका अंदाजा करता कितना नंबर दिया आपने प्रश्न।
छोटा छोटा सब आप लोगों के पास है, थोड़ा शेयर करें।
ओम स्वागतम। अभी आदरणीय वरुण जी ने जो अपने विचारों को प्रस्तुत होने दिया था, इन्होंने अपने द्वारा डॉक्टर टी.डी. सिंह को, पूज्य प्रभुपाद जी को, चैतन्य प्रभु को, महाप्रभु को, भगवान श्री कृष्ण को, सृष्टि के मूल में जो आनंद है उसको अभिव्यक्त होने दिया था। महान तपस्वी चिंतक कण भौतिकी के वैज्ञानिकों को, तपस्वियों को उन्होंने उद्धृत करते हुए, उनकी पुस्तकों का उद्धृत करते हुए बहुत सारे बहुमूल्य बीज हमको दिए थे। मैं अपना प्रवचन तो नहीं करूँगा, पर एक जो बात उन्होंने बताई थी, ब्यूटी एंड क्यूरियोसिटी, कुछ ऐसे तत्व उन्होंने हमारे सामने रखे कि हमारा दृष्टिकोण ही बदल जाता है। अब यह सत्र इंटरेक्शन का है अथवा प्रश्नोत्तर का है अथवा विमर्श का है, यह आपको निर्णय करना है। तद्विद्धि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेक्षन्ति ते ज्ञानम ज्ञानिनस्तत्वदर्शिन। लकड़ी का एक बहुत बड़ा लट्ठा हो, एक व्यक्ति उसको अकेला उठा नहीं सकता, कई लोग मिलकर उसको उठा सकते हैं। उसी प्रकार से कोई गहन चिंतन हो, विमर्शनीय चिंतन हो, उसको सब लोग मिलकर के उठाएं। दिस इज कॉल्ड द विमर्शा। You go deep within yourself. All of us go deep within ourselves, and thereby connecting the all-pervading mind, intelligence and consciousness. ऐसा मैं आपसे अपेक्षा करता हूँ, प्रश्न के लिए प्रश्न नहीं। और जैसा मुझे आदेश दिया गया था, केवल 4 प्रश्न ही किए जा सकेंगे। और आदरणीय वरुण जी, मुझे पूर्ण विश्वास है अपने द्वारा जो उनके अमृत वचन निकलेंगे वे अनुत्तर से निःसृत होकर के उत्तर के रूप में आएंगे। आप लोगों का स्वागत है प्रश्न पूछने के लिए।
Good afternoon, sir. So I was wondering that in all your promotions, you have used the analogy of Schrodinger's cat. So if you can please elucidate what made you choose this particular experiment of Schrodinger's cat, and how does it correlate to the consciousness that we are talking about?
Oh, okay. So you are from which field? What you are doing now?
Sir, my name is Arindam Mitra. I'm a mechanical engineer from IIT Kharagpur.
Okay.
And I'm an IT consultant now.
Okay. Very good, Arindam. There is a paper by Schrodinger, which is now already translated in English now. That paper is available. It was in German, I think, originally. That is there in this. This was published and also now reprinted. The book is called Quantum Theory and Measurement. This is a big volume, Quantum Theory and Measurement, and edited by Wheeler and other person I forgot. So there are very good articles in that, David Bohm and all very nice articles. In that, this paper of Schrodinger comes, Schrodinger's cat paradox. So you can refer to that in the details, for details. To put it simply, in a very layman language, it is a paper is like this. The paradox is like this. Schrodinger is called thought experiment. So Schrodinger imagines a situation. That there is a box. You have seen everywhere now, right? So now need to picturize it now. So you have seen everywhere outside in the card, in this. So there is a box. In that box, let us. If I show you here, it will be easier, I think. Nah? Siddharth. Where is? Okay, here's here it.
Sir, if I may interrupt you.
Sir,
So
yeah.
with your
Sorry?
permission,
Yeah.
your permission, like I think most of us do understand the premise of Schrodinger's cat
Okay.
experiment,
Okay.
which is the existence of the cat is dependent on the observer.
Right.
Like until and unless we remove the box, we don't know whether the cat is alive or not. My question was, how does it relate to the question of consciousness?
Okay, very good, very good. So the point is, that is a question exactly. What is observer? You see, von Neumann breaks it very nicely into different parts, as I was trying to touch upon when I started that. See, take this object. When I make this observation, the question is, what is observer and what is this act of observation? This is in question. So you can observer, the observer, which we are using the word, different people uses different words. The observer is certainly not this brain, which can still be reduced in the function of psi and all. It's something beyond this physical domain. There is a question. So that is why he divided the act of observation into three parts. One is the object which you are seeing, part 1. Second part is the instruments which are used to see it. In this case, my eyes. It could be microscope, it could be anything else. The instruments, the data it collects. The second part, I know up to certain extent. Retina I know, lens I know, image formation I know, sodium potassium ions of flow I know. You can go further and further as science progresses. Very clear. You can go further and further in second part. But still, finally, third part has to come. Somebody beyond all the sodium and potassium ions, neurons and all, somebody has to perceive this object. Who is that observer? So that is called ego, consciousness, soul, so many names. Von Neumann is very clearly dividing into parts and explaining that. So there the question of basically observer or consciousness comes in. This is a ballpark view. You want to go in detail, there are a lot of differences are there. Okay?
Observation is affecting whether the presence of the person is affecting or the act of observation is affecting. That has to be ascertained, whether it is the human body field energy or some other energy associated with the human form or consciousness, because we have not been able to identify, locate, quantify consciousness. So again, consciousness is something which we are arguing. The presence we are arguing and saying that it might be consciousness, but then it can be anything else pertaining to the human body.
Whatever it is, whatever word we want to use, not a problem. But we have got indications that it is beyond.
Sir, actually what I want to say is, we are...
No, not like that. Wait. Question answer interaction should be peaceful, in a mood of learning. in a mood of interaction, so that I learn, you learn. Wait, have patience, have patience, have patience if you want to have a knowledge. So, what I was sharing was that issue is, see, quantum physics cannot tell you what is consciousness. Don't expect that. If you are expecting, then there is a problem. भाई जितना जिसकी कैपेसिटी है उससे उतना एक्सपेक्ट करो. You cannot expect a chief minister to act like a Modi prime minister or a governor. There are limits. Similarly, quantum physics has a limit to describe consciousness. But one thing very clear, it has indicated consciousness. Indicated consciousness. That is very clear, and in that there is no. And now, if you are a genuine seeker of truth, forget about religions, forget about science, forget any outer coverings. Go to these works of these founders, Planck, Schrödinger, Heisenberg, I told, they will take you from there to something very high. Planck talks that based on these conceptions, definitely there is some absolute world there. How he is talking, you have to go inside. I stop here. Yes, please continue.
Sir, what you said about the observer.
Sorry?
About the observer. So if you are actually destroying specific portions of the brain, some of our cognitive functions will be impaired. Even the ability to observe the color, it may be impaired. For example, sometimes you will be able to see the bag, this bag, but I won't be able to tell it is a bag if some portions of the brain is destroyed. So whatever is consciousness, it is actually basically like a computational process. It is a representation in the brain.
Because my brain goes little slowly. See, the concepts are to be understood slowly.
Okay.
They are very deep concepts. We are not talking here of some normal computer programming here.
So, yes, sir. Actually, brain is also basically a massively parallel computation. That's what's happening.
Brain is also
A parallel computer, basically. It's basically
yes.
it's basically working that way, the brain.
So you see, this is the whole issue of this. What is brain? That is what we thought. See, you are carrying in your heart Newtonian conception, which is not your problem. This is a problem of modern, the scholar, the science. This conception carries so deeply, we are not getting able to rid of it. Heisenberg describes this problem very nicely. That he said there will be a lot of time will take to get rid of this Newtonian conception. It comes in everywhere. Fluid dynamics, computer science, neuroscience, AI, everywhere it comes. But when you will hit the boundaries, very serious difficulties, then you will come to realize your limitations. So, exactly we also thought like that. When I telling myself, actually I am a zero, more or less iota, zero man. Don't worry about me. I am a useless guy. What you have to worry is the conception which prevails in modern science. The conception of the scholars who found this institution called science, modern science, quantum physics and all. So they had this conception that brain also is like a input and output computer, and there's some computation goes on. But things are not that way. Because now you go inside neuroscience, which is not the topic of my talk today. Neuroscience is such a subject, if I tell you the issues in neuroscience, you will be perplexed. I will not tell you right now. There is an issue called, which Penrose talks about, the issue called binding problem. Not ordinary problems they are. We have to go further. I just give you one small hint, you yourself go. There is a problem called binding problem. This is an issue in the neuroscience. Penrose talks about it. What is this binding problem? When the data comes from different sensors, from eyes, from nose, from ears and all, how they are combined, bind it together, one problem. Second problem, how this data is comprehended. I know where this part of the brain is hitting. I know after the input comes from my eye. But how they are combined and how they are comprehended is a fundamental question in neuroscience.
Okay, sir, actually there's some cognitive science called Daniel Dennett. So what he said, his answer was actually, it is actually myth. Actually what we think about is myth. They are not combined anywhere. That's what he said.
fine, then he can believe that. I have no issues.
So actually, even the experimental evidence points out it is not compared anywhere.
What is that?
The experimental evidence.
What experience means?
So actually, there's a German professor, I don't remember his name, Professor Wolfsinger. Even he has come to similar conclusions.
What conclusion?
Sir, actually, this brain, it is actually different things. They are processing different modules in the brain. So basically, we can even do that. If we are cutting the brain in the middle, that's a surgery is called, there's a portion in the brain called corpus callosum. It actually connects both the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. So if you are cutting that, and if the left brain is seeing something,
Where is our Dr. Mukhopadhyay? He is not here. Aims neuroscience. He is the right man. I am not the. See, you are asking a wrong man about neuroscience. I am an ordinary person. You have to ask the expert, the neuroscience man. But I can give you some hints. That's all. So, if you really want to know, contact Dr. Mukhopadhyay. He is a neuroscience man. He knows things what it is. State of art, the state of art of the issues. Not that we know brain. We don't know brain today. Be very clear. We don't know brain today. I tried a lot of books in Harvard, Stanford to get what is the state of art of brain today in neuroscience. We have books in our library. We don't know brain today. Okay, next.
Yes, thank you so much. Last Vimarsha. Last question.
Okay. थोड़ा छोटा सा क्वेश्चन पूछेगा, ज़्यादा बड़ा नहीं.
I think it is very small. Current trend is that all the physical explanations are made by quantizing the physical qualities by inducing a mathematical factor or mathematical formulation. So, with all this conference, can we conclude that we have to take some other step other than maths to get the physics further beyond? I mean, we have to switch to anything other than maths or formulation to continue the journey towards the further knowledge, deep truth.
Yeah, take Bhagavad Gita also, along with calculus book.
Along with the calculus.
Yeah, we studied Eurodo, we studied calculus, solid state, fluid study. After that, we are coming to Bhagavad Gita. Why? Because the questions of reality is so vast, it is not able to confine in the limited domain which we study. The kind of mathematics which we do, or we are trained like PhD, postdoc, whatever way we are trained today, even foundational issues are not referred. People are not advised to do thesis in foundational issues, you know. When Brouwer was doing PhD in foundations mathematics, he was discouraged to do that. Because he said no output will come, you will not get money for project and all those issues, right? So how will you get answers? How will you get curiosities? So that is why we cannot discard the mathematics which we have today. That was actually fight between two big groups in mathematics. Brouwer said discard Brouwer was a very revolutionary, and there was a Hilbert, other bunch of mathematicians, and they opposed it. So finally point is that solution came, no, whatever you achieve is very good, but it works in a limited range of domain. I cannot discard it. It is very nice. But as far as reality is concerned, when I talk about the ultimate purpose of my life, purpose of this universe, why we are here, why everything at all, anything is there only Eurodo or calculus will not do. Fine.
As per your, I want to know your opinion, what are the things other than mathematics that can take the physics further?
Okay, so we will follow the chairman. We should be obedient boy. So I will be. I think I will follow him and we can talk. Obedience is very important in spiritual life. Remember, if one is not obedient, he cannot go anywhere. He is not able to guru, teacher, seniors. Like Duryodhana and Yudhishthira, only this difference, obedience.
He is never obedient to anybody, his guru, his teacher. Yudhishthira is obedient to always to seniors and all. If we are obedient, we can easily get the truth. Thank you very much.
श्री वरुण अग्रवाल, ईश्वर कृपा, गुरु कृपा, शास्त्र कृपा और आत्म कृपा, इन चारों दिव्य शक्तियों का समन्वित रूप श्री वरुण जी के द्वारा प्रस्तुत किया गया। उनके प्रति बहुत बहुत आभार है। जिन लोगों की और अधिक जिज्ञासाएं हों, वे निश्चित रूप से उनकी सन्निधि को प्राप्त करें और अपना समाधान को पाएँ। दैवी हेषा गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्यया मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते माया मेताम तरन्ति ते। उसकी ओर इंगित करते हुए अति महत्वपूर्ण बात उन्होंने बताई। यह दुर्लभ मनुष्य का शरीर अवशिष्ट जीवन लक्ष्य का संधान, लक्ष्य को प्राप्त करना, और इसके द्वारा उन्होंने मानो एक बहुत बड़े विस्तार को हमारे सामने प्रस्तुत कर दिया। बड़े बड़े वैज्ञानिकों के साथ भी हमको भी प्रश्नाकुल कर दिया। देह त्याग के बाद कहाँ जाना है, जाएंगे अथवा नहीं जाएंगे। उनके प्रति बारंबार वंदन करता हूँ। और अब मैं सादर आमंत्रित करता हूँ डॉक्टर देवाशीष खान, और उनके विषय में कुछ पंक्तियाँ हैं। Dr. Khan received his PhD degree in mechanical engineering from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. Before joining in PhD program in 2003, he has spent few years in industry also. After completing his study at IIT Kharagpur, he had joined as an assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering at Indian Institute of Technology, Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi. His research interests include analytical and computational methods in engineering and science, continuum mechanics, plasticity, fracture mechanics. He has published several research papers of international repute. In the year 2013, he was visiting research scientist in Department of Materials Science and Engineering at University of North Texas, USA. He was also a visiting researcher at Zenit Institute of Advanced Materials, University of Groningen, the Netherlands in 2016. In order to have a deeper understanding of the material natures, self, absolute truth, and their interaction, Dr. Khan has special interest to work in the area of synthesis of science and spirituality. Dr. Khan has been trained in this highly complex but very fundamental area by Dr. T.D. Singh, Srila Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami, a well-known authority on Vedanta and science. मैं आमंत्रित करता हूँ डॉक्टर खान को यहाँ पर पधारें, हमको आलोक प्रदान करें। और आपने जैसा उनको वासुदेव जी ने इंगित किया था, फिजिसिस्ट पॉली को लेकर आप लोग अपने विचार प्रस्तुत करेंगे।
Good afternoon to everybody. I was before presenting, I was asking Burunji that is there anything left to be presented in the foundations of quantum mechanics, at least from the insight of the founders. And he told that yeah, one thing is left that Pauli I have not told about. So you can tell about him. So mostly in our school days, knew about this Pauli's exclusion principle only, but not much about Pauli, which is beyond this. So and this assignment I got from Mr. Borun only. He told me to present this. So in the course of this preparation, just I was collecting the materials related to Pauli and his insights in the area of physics and mathematics. Then I was amazed actually that why Pauli was not so highlighted like the other founders of the quantum mechanics. Then in course of the actually reading, I got that why actually he was not so much publicized or projected like the others. So before going directly to this mind matter effect, I just will give a brief review of this Pauli. So Pauli exclusion principle will know that any two electrons cannot be of same quantum number or same quantum state. So just if we look back from this 1900, so Pauli was born in Vienna in Austria, and it is very interesting that in his school days itself, he did unbelievable mathematics and physics, such and such that at the age of 18, he did a very interesting project on theory of relativity. Okay. So we cannot even think, at least me, because I am very layman in the context of this quantum physics and this consciousness affair. But he did a very wonderful project in the theory of relativity at the age of 18, and during that time also he was a student, a PhD student of Sommerfeld, and Sommerfeld is very well known for his very efficient application of the mathematics in the natural science. And Pauli, as he was also student of the Sommerfeld, he also was making confidence in a similar spirit as Sommerfeld. So during that time, Einstein gave permission to publish this theory of relativity in German language, and he gave it to Sommerfeld, but Sommerfeld again gave it to Pauli. And Pauli wrote in such a nice description that even Einstein actually was amazed that who did it. Then Einstein, then Sommerfeld told that my PhD student will become Pauli. Then after that, Einstein told that I admire him and he is like my spiritual son. So, and not only he was in the pioneers in theoretical physics, but he was also popularly known for his ruthless intellectual integrity. This is very important, and due to that also he was not popularized or he was not projected like the other founders. So to some extent I will just give a few examples. So in actually the PhD topic of the Pauli was just to prove that this Bohr mechanistic model of atom is wrong, and he also did it and for ionized hydrogen molecule, and Niels Bohr actually admitted that yes, some more genius is there in our universe also. And for one semester he worked under Max Born, and this Pauli saw that Max Born approach is very formal, so he did not like it, so he left. And also he saw the application of empirical mathematics, and he actually was very much against of this empirical mathematics, because at least me, I am from this quantum mechanics background to some extent. So whatever the equations or integral these engineers actually use, we take it from mathematics. We do not know that for what purpose actually this mathematician developed that equation or that integral, but as it is serving my purpose or solving my problem, I take that, and depending on that actually I give the explanation of that integral in relation to my work. But it is not the only thing that Pauli told that this pure mathematics is having some other dimensions also, but we are not looking into that. So if you look mainly on the empirical mathematics, then you will not get the true nature of the reality. Okay, so some portion you will be neglecting. So seeing the much intelligence in Pauli, Niels Bohr invited him to this Copenhagen school, and there was a time when this Bohr, Heisenberg and Pauli became the kernel of this Copenhagen school. And this left side is this Pauli, at the center Bohr and Heisenberg. And Heisenberg was 1 year younger than Pauli, but even to Heisenberg also, wherever actually some dispute ideas are coming, so Heisenberg also took guidance from Pauli. So Pauli was of that standard, of that intellectual capability. And in fact, in the course of present, I will also show that this quantum mechanics is protected mainly due to this Pauli's strict application. Okay. And mostly you will see that these physicists, they do depend for this formalism etc. for the mathematicians, or they were dependent on the mathematician, but Pauli was a different kind. So that I will tell, he was a combination of both physics and mathematics. So just to cite one thing, that how he was, even though he was a very close friend of Bohr, but he was not reluctant to tell when Bohr is doing something wrong. In the context of this radioactive beta decay, and from where he discovered this neutrino particle, in that this Bohr was considering that energy might not be conserved. So this phrase used, energy might not be conserved, but Pauli was against it. He said, I am myself fairly convinced that Bohr, with his corresponding deliberations concerning a violation of energy conservation, are entirely on the wrong track. The idea of a violation of the conservation of energy in beta decay is and remains, in my opinion, cheap and very clumsy philosophy. So I think we do not have such courage to tell against my very dear friend, but he actually, just to protect actually the scientific tradition or scientific thoughts, Pauli had to do that. In many cases actually, I am giving here only one, but if you just search in the Google or in the literature, you will get. Heisenberg also characterized Pauli's approach to physics in this way, that he first tried to get the things by inspiration through experiments, and then he tried to think intuitively how they are connected. So this is very important, and at the same time he also used to verify that through mathematics. And Pauli, Heisenberg also told that if any of these two postulates actually he could have avoided, he would have much more publications than what we have. That physics, at the same time he used to verify that physical thing by mathematics. So he was very strong in mathematics as well. So this is one of the reasons that he was not projected, or he was not having publications like the others. There is a very scientific crisis during the Renaissance time and in the 17th century, and during that time so people are thinking that everything can be explained or described using mathematics. Okay. So that idea of absolute causality, but Pauli was against it. Pauli was very much against it. And at this time, or during that time only, this concept of this matter and spirit were being separated from each other using this, that Cartesian. This Cartesian concept, that Cartesian tensor, Cartesian coordinates are very easy to use, but it will not give the complete information of any physical system. So, but if you see the curvilinear coordinates or the curvilinear tensor, it is complex, but it will give better information of the system. So this Newton also actually sometimes he has also told us this Cartesian system has ruined the exact word I am not getting, ruined the motive of this mechanics or something like that. This Cartesian system actually is ruined. Theology was forced to acknowledge a complete independence of empirical science in the realm of the material world. Theology itself concentrated its research on the spiritual world and on divine revelations. I am not reading everything. So, in the course of time, Pauli had become a kind of superior judge for matters concerning theoretical physics, whose opinion was always desired regarding any disputed ideas. So, see, these things I at least was not knowing. Even after the close interaction with Heisenberg, Heisenberg once told that after his friendship with Pauli, actually he never used to send any paper without showing it to Pauli, that whether this conception is correct or not. So, this Pauli's sharp criticism kept research from going down the wrong track. He had to take a stand in regard to new ideas in all areas of physics. This responsibility as the conscience of physics demanded an extraordinary effort from him, which cannot be seen in publications. This is very important. This quote is also Pauli himself commented that I have indeed mistakenly held something right to be wrong, but never considered something wrong to be right. So, one effect is the Pauli effect. If you search in the literature, that Pauli effect is very interesting. That Pauli was such a person that if he used to enter in any lab, the sure successful experimentation also became unsuccessful. So, people are fearing that if Pauli is there, there will not be any experiment, because the Pauli actually he did not tell much about this, but he only told that some mystic nature may be there, I do not know that. So, he often noted in his letters that the will to power and the possibility to use knowledge as a tool for power are the dark side of natural science. Actually, during the war in German, so Pauli was a professor in Hamburg. Then during the war time, actually he moved to USA in Princeton University, and there he worked some years, and after that when he saw that this research is going in the hand of political leaders and this defense leaders, he actually left America and again he came back to Zurich, Switzerland, and there he until death actually he was continuing his research there only. So, if you have some will to power and the possibility to use the knowledge as a tool for power, then this natural science may not be developed at its own or at its or as it is in fact. So, as mostly he used to write his opinions, his thoughts in long letters to this Heisenberg or Niels Bohr. So, many of his seminal ideas were unpublished, and critically he remarked that I can afford not to be quoted. So, this is very important. He was not so much desirable, he was not having so much desire to be quoted. I can afford not to be quoted, even though he was very strong in that area. So, Pauli understood that physics necessarily gives an incomplete view of nature, and he was looking for an extended scientific framework. So, by this extended he actually was trying to refer that something irrationality, so that I will come later, that some irrationality also has to be included in our scientific understanding also. Even though he was very great in mathematical technique, who enjoyed solving the most difficult mathematical problems, nevertheless he saw clearly that the method of logical analysis was not the only way of comprehending reality. Another way is the conception of wholeness which intuition strives for. Okay, so this thing initially is not there in the founding fathers of quantum mechanics, but he actually brought this. Yes, actually he boldly used to tell that intuition has to be there. This is the way of arts, religion and mysticism. So this was my main topic for which actually I was given, but before that, that was also relevant in this matter of this mind and matter. So Pauli's ideas on mind and matter are based on these three main items, that symmetries and their breakdown, theories as symbolic constructions, and complementarity beyond physics. So I think many of you who are theoretical physicists, they may be knowing this symmetry and their breakdown much well. But this theory of symbolic construction is not so much well expanded in this academic area. But this complementary, okay, this is very well understood. Even this Niels Bohr actually brought this idea initially. So symmetries and their breakdown. Okay, let us start this. What is symmetries and their breakdown? So this symmetry, as we understand, I understand that it is some kind of invariance with respect to some coordinate transformation. Okay, so from this quantum mechanics point of view, I know that only that it is some sort of invariance when you change the reference system of the coordinate system. But when I was going through this literature, actually I saw that it is not only that, it is much more. Even this physicists, they also for this group theoretical formulation, they use this concept, but in my opinion, the symmetry is not only that. And Pauli gave much time on this concept of symmetry, and he also intuitively told that this symmetry and the conservation laws, they have a very deep relation. So without symmetry, we cannot have conservation laws. In a perfect symmetric situation, there are no distinctions, so that reality does not appear in a structured form. So my just suggestion to the students that please give some time on this concept, what is symmetry, because it is not that just mathematical symmetric function that fx equal to f minus x or just the mirror image, but symmetry is a very deep topic, a very detailed topic. And so on symmetry, not only that Pauli actually did some work, but many others. But in the context of this mind body, it was a very assumption that he assumed that this has a great role on the mind matter problem. That fundamental symmetries are not empirically accessible in a direct way. They can only be retrospectively inferred by phenomena that exist due to broken symmetries. So in a perfect symmetric condition, you cannot see any natural phenomena. That is very interesting. In a perfect symmetric condition, we cannot see a natural phenomena to exist, and we see only due to the existence of broken symmetries. So initially actually I was not understanding, but later on anyhow after some study I got. So by a simple example, I am just trying to tell you that suppose a room is there, and within that room that temperature is uniform throughout. So if I go to any point and measure the temperature, it will give the same value. Okay, but when I am within this system, within that room only, but if I be away from that room or outside of that room, so how can I understand that such an environment exists? So unless some broken symmetry is there, I cannot understand that this symmetric situation is existing within that room. Is it clear? This is very interesting. So, and actually Pauli went far away from this concept. He also told that unless some higher domain reality is not symmetric in nature, and as there is broken symmetry, we can infer about that. So this is very interesting and very deep topic in my mind at least. So whatever we can see due to the broken symmetry only, and in 1894 this Pierre Curie also told that asymmetry is what creates a phenomena. So this first point I have already discussed, that deep connection between symmetry and the associated conservation laws. Okay, if there is no symmetry, and in 1918 this Neither gives also this Neither's theorem we tell. So in mathematics also many people use it. For every continuous symmetry there exists a conservation law. For every conservation law there exists a continuous symmetry. And these you know that due to the time translation symmetry, this energy is conserved. Due to the space translation symmetry, the momentum is conserved. That this simple linear momentum equation which we use, that m1 u1 plus m2 u2 equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2, if this your coordinates or space is not symmetric, you will not get this conservation law also. And this conserved point related to the rotational symmetry is called angular momentum. Of course, there are other examples of this other example of broken symmetry. Just some I noted here, that this ferromagnetism, crystallization, or the superfluidity and superconductivity, these are observable due to the broken symmetry, which I have included within that this first brackets. This ferromagnetism is visible to us due to the involving the spontaneous breakdown of the rotation symmetry, the crystallization requiring the spontaneous breakdown of the translation as well as rotational symmetry. Like that, the superconductivity also connected with spontaneous breakdown of particle number conservation. So this area is not so confined, it is a very big area, so you can put some thought in this. Then next comes theories as symbolic constructions. Both Heisenberg and Pauli, the year is 1957 and 1958. So 1958 is the year of death of this Pauli, but till that actually they demonstrate vividly that the scientific work as a human activity is much more subtle than a purely rational enterprise, and achieving understanding is a laborious process guided by unconscious elements long before. So the thing he was trying to convey, that how do any idea come, and in this context Pauli told that these ideas come as symbolic construction in our mind initially. So ideas are in the form of symbol, not the signal, it is symbol, and it is very fundamental in nature. And also no one still maintains that theories are deduced by strict logical conclusions from laboratory books. These theories are established following Plato as an emerging correspondence of internal images and external objects and their behavior. Now actually he is coming to this Platonic world, that correspondence of internal images and external objects and their behavior. Pauli uses the concept of the symbol in the Jungian sense. This Jung, about Jung till now I have not told that Pauli is married, lasted for only 1 year. Okay. So after his divorce from his wife, he went to a psychiatrist, and he was Jung. That Jungian philosophy, also in psychology, it is very much popularly used. So he was psychiatrist, so he was treating the patient based on his mental condition. So some scientists and philosophers, they told that this is not by chance, that but it is a divine arrangement of the meeting of the Jung and Pauli, because this Pauli was conveying, or he was interacting, giving his own background in the science, and Pauli was interacting, giving his own background in psychology. And this physics and psychology, they were just giving their opinion to each other, and later on we can see that this Pauli told that they are complementary to each other, that this physics and psychology, they are complementary to each other, like this particle and wave, position and momentum, they are complementary to each other. Symbol is an expression for something that cannot be characterized in any other or better way. For Jung, symbols represent archetypal ideas which do not refer to explicitly accessible elements of everyday reality. So I is telling that ideas are in the form of symbol, and those representing some archetypal ideas. Man grasps reality with the help of symbolic forms understood as fundamental primitive function which manifests itself in all human culture, be it language, myth, art, science. For Pauli, the mathematical representation of a scientific state of affairs is a predominantly symbolic description. So he told that this mathematics itself is a symbolic representation of the reality. This is very interesting, that not even this symbol like alpha, beta, gamma, he told that all mathematics actually symbol is representation of the reality. Only a fraction of a symbol can be expressed by conscious ideas, another fraction acts upon the human unconscious or preconscious. Pauli believed that the unifying power of mathematical symbolism is far from being exhausted. Okay, so it is having much power, but till now that much is not exhausted. And the last is that complementarity beyond physics. So I have told that this concept was initially brought by Bohr, and this particle, wave, or this position, momentum, so these were introduced, but later on this Pauli was a determined advocate of this complementarity, and okay, so this is also very important. As people are trying to ask about the mathematics of this quantum mechanics, so it is very important. Although there are no serious problems to understand and apply the mathematical formalism of quantum physics, it forced us to drastically revise our traditional ideas about the nature of matter. So Pauli commented this situation as every gain of knowledge of atomic objects by observation has to be paid for by loss of other knowledge. I do not know whether it is which knowledge is obtained and which other knowledge is irrevocably lost is left to the free choice of the experimenter, who may choose between mutually exclusive experimental arrangements. So this complementary, as you know, that refers to existence of mutually exclusive incompatible aspects. It is not like Boolean, that 0 or 1, something like that. This limitation of Boolean description, which is clearly recognized in quantum physics, it also relevant in many other fields. So he brought this complementary aspect in the matter of matter and mind. So this Pauli's commitment to mind-matter problem. So he told, as I have time limitation, I am not reading. Pauli told that I am quite confident that the final objective is the same, independent of whether one starts from the psyche, ideas, or mind, or from physics, matter. Therefore, I consider Oh, last line is not relevant. This unconscious of a species of animals will presumably produce archetypal pictures, and with these patterns of behavior, I stay complementary and symmetrical with respect to the distinction matter versus psyche. The general problem of the relation between the psyche and physics, or this mind and matter between inside and outside, can hardly be regarded as solved by the term psychophysical parallelism advanced in the last century. It would be most satisfactory if physics and psyche could be conceived as complementary aspects of the same reality. So, the last thing is also repeated many times, but again, as from this Pauli's view, I am just repeating. Pauli describes the relations between matter and spirit and between physics and psychology respectively as complementary. In physics, it appears in the idea of the detached object, which just now Borunji has explained that that initially Bohr was also not in favor of this detached conscious observer. He was in the opinion of this detached observer, but later on he also in the line of that no, this observer has also a role in the measurement. And this is the last this Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics was for Pauli a road sign into this new world, which is characterized by the complementarity of the spirit and matter and of religion and science. This repression or suppression of the irrational is what we have to overcome in order to see the perspective which Pauli seeks to open to us. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khan, Devashish. Any question? Any interaction?
If there is no question, then I will be happy.
Very good. So, next.
Check.
Please come.
Thank you very much. May I now request to Swamiji to please present the memento to our speakers. I request now to Sri K. Vasudev Rao ji to please come join on stage to pay respect as to Swamiji to present the memento. There is a question to Dr. Devashish Khan. You may please join.
Actually, this is not a question. This is just a comment. Since nobody asked anything, so I just thought of making a comment.
Yeah, it is very good.
This is just for the sake of, there are a lot of youngsters here. In 1925, when there are two very famous physicists named Gauss-Schmidt and Uhlenbeck. I think you know that Uhlenbeck and Gauss-Schmidt are two very famous physicists who got Nobel Prize because they were the one, who actually found out they discovered the so-called fourth quantum number, which is called spin quantum number. after the other three, which you know, the principle.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
actually I forgot to mention.
So he
Yeah,
forgot, I know. So I'm just making a comment. So Goudsmit received a letter from his boss, that is Ehrenfest. So Ehrenfest wrote in 1925, around October 1925, a letter to Goudsmit saying that, dear Goudsmit, I am very happy to know about your discovery of the spin, but you are very lucky that Pauli did not know about it. If Pauli would have known, you would not have got Nobel Prize. I mean, Pauli was a so-called terror, in there, because he was a perfectionist to the highest order, as he pointed out. And only after 1 month, in the month of December 1925, Pauli came out with the so-called the discovery of the spin quantum number. So after the Goudsmit, just 1 month before Pauli, and Pauli's boss, that is Ehrenfest, told that you are extremely lucky that Pauli did not come to know about it, because if he knew, then forget about it. Pauli would have done the discovery and he would not have got that. So that's just a comment.
Okay, thank you, Professor Das, for sharing this.
Yeah.
We should have a big round of applause for this comment and for our speakers here. Now our next session is theistic interpretation of quantum mechanics. This seems very interesting. And for this session, I would take honor to call upon Dr. B.D. Mundra, Emeritus Chairman of Simplex Infrastructure Limited. Dr. Mundra is well known in the industrial fraternity as the chairman of Simplex Infrastructure Limited. Dr. Mundra started his construction career at the age of 19 at various construction sites of Simplex. He was inducted in the board of Simplex in 1969 and became managing director in 1987. In recent past, Singhania University, Rajasthan, conferred Dr. Mundra with the degree of Doctor of Philosophy for his outstanding contribution to the field of infrastructure and construction industry in India. Dr. Mundra has professional association with some notable institutions such as Honorary Life Fellow of Institution of Engineers, India, Fellow Member of the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, UK, the Indian Concrete Institute, a founder member and trustee of National Institute of Construction Management and Research in Pune, member of Board of Governors of Construction Industry Development Council, and also member of Builders Association of India. Dr. Mundra has also been selected as the first and founding chairman of United Nations Economics Commission for Europe. Dr. B.D. Mundra is a laureate of a number of many prestigious awards for his invaluable contributions to the industry. Some of the awards include Lifetime Achievement Award by BAI in 2008, Vishwakarma Award by CIDC in 29, World Leader Business Person 2010 by World Confederation of Business in 2010, Hall of Fame Infrastructure in 2012, Lifetime Achievement Award in 2012, and Honorable Doctor of Literature in Oriental Language by Indian Institute of Oriental Heritage in 2014. Besides engineering and construction, Dr. Mundra's deep understanding of the Indian culture has promoted him to be associated with various social and cultural associations as well as academic institutions such as President of Bharatiya Sanskriti Sansad and Nagrik Swasth Sangh Kolkata, Principal Trustee in bharatiyavidyamandir, Trustee of Pandit Jasraj Music Academy and several other associations. In addition to devoting time in pursuit of construction business, Dr. Mundra has made considerable contribution to the field of literature, modern science, and classical music. Under his guidance, some of the eminent literatures have been published by bharatiyavidyamandir, Indian Culture Encyclopedia Survey in 8 volumes, Bharatiya Chitrakala, Bharatiya Murtikala, Rosary of Hymns, selected poems of Surdas, Kamayani, and various other topics. He has also published and is advisory editor of research-oriented Hindi bi-monthly magazine Vaichariki. Dr. B.D. Mundra, a philanthropist, is actively involved with various welfare activities. I think we should have a big round of applause for him. And may I take opportunity to hand over this stage to you, sir. Please. May I also call our speakers to Professor Sudipta Ghosh and Mr. Madhu Babu Priyang to please join us on stage.
Adarniya Swamiji and great scholars and scholarly friends, young friends who are here. It's great honor to chair a session here. Although, as I said in the very beginning of this session, that neither I know quantum physics nor consciousness, but as great Shankaracharya said, na janami tantram na janami mantram, gatistvam tvameka bhavani. So I am at your mercy and mercy of the scholars. So we will try to do our best, but we have great orators here. Madhu Babu Praksha studied BSc from Andhra University in the field of physics, maths and chemistry. Studied Executive MBA from University of Lincoln and LLM from Stratford University. From United Kingdom, started as officer under Indian Foreign Service. Served as technology management in a managerial role at International Game Technology, a global information technology organization, currently living in San Francisco, USA for last 16 years, worked in both public and private organizations in different fields, including software management, infrastructure management, civil construction. His field of study includes computer science, management science, international business law, economics, physics, mathematics, chemistry, Telugu, Hindi, English literature, Sanskrit texts, education, philosophy, poetry, Buddhism, yoga, astrology, palmistry, neurology, science of omens, psychology, music and healthcare, alternative healing, meditation, mantra shastra, tantra shastra, and yantra shastra. My God. But I know Madhu Babu for some time, for last few years. He is a simple, truthful person. He says what he feels. We can talk about him for a long time, but the time is short and we want to start. he has felt illuminated soul. And I know he is a bhakta, sadhak. So that's how we felt that we should invite a person who is initiated and sadhak, but in daily humdrum of modern life. So we invite Madhu Babu. Other speaker, of course, you are well known. Professor Sudipta Ghosh. We will tell about him. Well, he is a very shy person. He does not write much about himself, does not tell us also. But great soul and very knowledgeable man. He is B.Tech and M.Tech and PhD from IIT Kharagpur. He is here, worked in Tata Research and Development Design Center, Pune, currently professor in Department of Metallurgy and Material Engineering. He is in research area in multi-phase, multi-scale mathematical modeling of materials, lithium ions, batteries, and identification processing of materials. Guided 10 PhD students, a great disciple of Dr. T.D. Singh since 1995, editor of Savigyanam, trained in science and spirituality by Dr. T.D. Singh. He is in board of directors of Bhaktivedanta Institute. But as a person, he is a great soul. I always admire him, cool, calm and calculated, and having deep inside knowledge of the subject. So let us start with Madhu Babu. We will try to be as concise as possible. I know we have another session, and we will try to keep our questions also limited, maybe 4 per speaker.
First of all, it's an honor to be here. I like to thank my mother who is here in Kolkata. Hello? What should I do? Thank you. Now my mother turned me on. My mother lives here. Her name is Mahakali. First I want to thank her. Then I want to thank these organizations who are amazing, and they invited an adopted odd child into a consciousness and quantum physics conference. It's an honor to be on this dais where amazing scientists of the world, Honorable Dr. Amit Goswami, Dr. Bernard, where I am nowhere but just a dust particle. The moment I say dust particle, my mind goes in thousand and billion ways. The fundamental particles, what is out there? As human being, I am so confined by who I am. I am so small when compared to the size of the cosmos. I am so big compared to the size of the electrons and atoms and quarks and whatever, those wonderful things. It's an amazing world. So I decided, coming from an international technology world, not to bring any PowerPoints, but only points that may have little bit of power, as small as the power of an electron. I know nothing. Yasyam tarnadi madhyam nahi karacharanam na magotram na sutram no jatir naiva varnam na bhavati purusho no napunso na chastri nakaram na vikaram na hijani maranam nasti punyam na papam no tattvam tattvamekam sahaja samarasam sadgurum tam namami. If the eternal omnipresent consciousness exists, it exists according to Upanishads as nothing. It is undescribable. It is what it is. So that is the amazing power of it. Einstein says, God does not play dice with the universe. I play dice with the universe because I work for a company called International Game Technology who are into gambling, and professionally most of the slot machines you play in the world are based on gambling. That puts me into a doubly interested person on this interesting topic today. Can we change destiny? Because all those people in Las Vegas are playing lotteries in the world. Most of them are our customers, are dealing with destiny. As human beings, we are also dealing with destiny every day. When I look at this universe, there is somewhere in a Discovery Channel, I remember a beautiful thing. When you go to a garden, you see a rock. Oh my God, where did this rock come from? This rock has been there probably for 1 million years. I went to other garden, I saw a watch. Oh, this watch must have been there for 1 million years. You cannot say that. The moment you find a watch, you found a design. The moment you found a design, there is a designer. When there is a designer, there is an intelligence. The problem with the universe is intelligent. The moment, sometimes I kind of relate metaphorically, the knowledge is like a sphere. When you go like tangent from any subject, you go to the center, it's only one center. I tried some of the subjects, some crazy subjects, applying them, which I'm going to share in my craziest speech and the most craziest thoughts I had, I still finding the same truth. And that's amazing. What a beautiful creation it is. It's like a mother is looking for a child. Little Krishna. Krishna, where are you hiding? She's looking everywhere. She came to the pillar, Krishna is hiding. Krishna knows by her footsteps. Mom, I am not here. The little kid is saying, I am not here. God is saying, when you go to quantum physics and you are going to the fundamentals of consciousness, nature is saying, oh, no, there is no superconsciousness. No, there is nothing like it. Oh, I am not here. But you are seeing the damn signature of a superconsciousness. You are also seeing the signature of collective consciousness. The earlier speaker, Dr. Khan, has mentioned an amazing personality, Carl Jung, you have quoted, who is a contemporary of Sigmund Freud. And Carl Jung has proposed some of the most amazing concepts. I was like fascinated. He is the only one, when you write psychology textbook, who puts Sri Yantra in there. He has proper Sri Chakra in a psychology textbooks, and his proposition is that something like Sri Chakra represents something that belongs to the inner realms of your subconscious that has evolved through the several decades of genetic evolution that you have put through the time and effort, and you have evolved from the animal to the eternity. The signature is Sri Chakra. When you look at it, you are not looking at a symbol. Symbols are so powerful. Who is God? In mathematics, what am I doing to understand? Some number plus 4 is equal to 7. What is the number? X plus 4 is equal to 7, so x is equal to 7 minus 4, x is equal to 3. The unknown is x. I don't know God. What is the problem if I assume God as Ganesha? As you solve the problem, as you do sadhana, you are getting the result of the actual value of x in the end. The unknown I am assuming as Ganesha. Who is Ganesha? I will know after doing sadhana. Ganesha is not God. My friend may be thinking he is Jesus, another friend is thinking he is Buddha, another thinking he is Allah. We are all assuming like mathematics. If you assume that as x or a or b, the result is going to be same. It starts with an assumption, because assumption is nothing but an observation. Observation is an amazing thing. I could not make a PowerPoint presentation because I would be limiting myself. So I went into some experiments that are fancy. Act of observation. Long ago, in the city of Visakhapatnam, LIG 69 house number, HP colony, 1986. I was just learning basics of astrology. At the same time, I was a physics student. Everybody continues to be in a state of rest or of information in a straight line unless it's compelled by an external force. I know only Newtonian physics by the time. But I love the third law because it relates to karma too. So there is this gentleman asking me, what do you think is my future? I said, I don't know the future. I'm just giving some predictions. I'm just learning astrology. I'm a science student learning astrology. Then I told him accidentally, in the month of July you are traveling. Yeah, I traveled in July. I keep traveling. I know why you traveled. I said, okay, yeah, why? And I had no answer. I was suddenly stuck. I'm looking at a horoscope. How can I tell why did you travel? Why I'm talking about this topic is I'm dealing with destiny here. I'm interested in destiny. Can we change destiny? First we need to read destiny. I was like wondering what the hell. I did no clue. 2 minutes passed. I don't know why he went in July to somewhere. Suddenly, a beggar walked in through the gate holding a stick in his hand. Not a beggar, like a dirty looking dressed person. He looks like a worker. He asked that man, what do you want? I'm building the wall. Now I will go for lunch and come. काम तो चल रहा है, बना रहे हैं दीवार. अच्छा, then I understood he must be doing the construction near his house. They're building the wall. He said, okay. I said, I remembered something about consciousness. There is the statement of consciousness from none other than Varahamihira. Varahamihira is an amazing Indian scientist. He said, every time you have a question, just like you're talking in Vishnu Sahasranama, Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. Eko Vishnu Mahad Bhutam Pratak Bhuta Janeka Satin Lokan Vyapta Bhutatma Bhumte Vishwa Bhugavyeha. There is only one consciousness that is there. Whenever you have a question, it is nature which will respond to you. Kala Purush will come and respond to you. I said, damn, what if it's true? Let me try that principle. What if the supreme consciousness is there trying to help me find destiny? So, what is this guy doing? The guy came in. I closed my eyes and I told him, now I know why you went. In the month of July, you went to resolve a real estate dispute between two brothers and their relatives. And the problem got sorted, and one other person's name should be Kumar or something similar. And he was like shocked. Yeah, that is true. They're my nephews and they're fighting about a property event. How did you know that? I was more shocked. I couldn't sleep that night. What the hell? Why would that be correct? That's such a random crap, I said. Forget about destiny and predictions. So I was thinking, what the hell? So is it going to work like that? The logic I used is, nature sent me a signal. Nature is a language. The entire universe is like an operating system. On iOS, you have apps. Likewise, you have internet. There is something called internet. If you have any questions, Bhaktivedanta Society monks are here. Please contact them. This is an advertisement they paid me for. So you contact them, and they will tell you what is internet. The internet is the internet of the masters. The whole universe has a consciousness plane called Rutambhara. Under Rutambhara consciousness, these programs and events are programmed. So the man came, he said, I'm building the wall. Wall is made of bricks. Bricks are joining. Brick means earth, so it should be a land dispute. Joining means he's resolving the problem. He went to resolve the problem. And then, because it's a brick is red color, red is Mars, Mangalaka, a lot of that is Kumaraswamy, a lot is Murugan, so I guess the name should be Kumar, just through a random thing, just a probability, right? World of possibilities and probabilities. Became correct. Why is it correct? Another intriguing thing happened after some time. I happened to become a little bit famous. The beauty of this business of destiny, I don't charge anything, I do it as a free service, but finding destiny, everyone is your customer. Everyone will love you. Everyone wants to have lunch with you. So being in that free lunch world I was invited to Mauritius. So they were doing an interview. And in that interview, coincidentally, one gentleman who speaks Creole stands up and challenges me. I was still a young astrologer. So he asked me, I'm planning to go to a different country. Can you predict which country it is? Marge, how the hell you predict? You can say, oh, you will go in month of July. You know, we astrologers are very clever about probabilities. You can be an astrologer with one principle. Yes or no is easy. Ho jayega, nahi hoga. Haan, kaam to. Sir, how long my problems will be there? Up to 40 years you will have a lot of problems. After that, you will get used to it. That's the secret of life. There is nothing else more than that. as quoting Dr. Mundraji, life is nothing but layers of integrated fundamental events. It's just nothing but films that are moving, and because of certain speed they are moving, these events are looking like they are moving. We are living, but everything, if somebody can photograph, these are fundamental events. I was very intrigued by it. The greatest word, probably I want to write a book, I want to put a caption on the title of it is Event Horizon. The damn thing I cannot speak. What a beautiful word event horizon is. Just sit down and spend 2 minutes, enjoy, probably you need a wine, just have wine or a coffee. Event horizon. Not only on black holes. We are living in a world, we are seeing events. This is all events. These are all amazing events that are happening. Continuously they are going on. Some super consciousness is programming it. You need to hack it. So this guy asked me a question, where did you go? How do I know? I again closed my eyes and prayed, God, Varah, oh my damn God. I said, you are planning to go to Australia. I think so, I don't know. But he said, wow, and everybody, he said, right, and everybody clapped. And Prime Minister Dr. Anuj Jagannath wanted to meet me. It's again a good business, right? So how the hell that happened? Very simple. I'm sharing some of my lifetime secrets. You know, I should actually be patenting and charging you for listening to my talk. This is the most money-making business secrets I'm sharing with you today. Quantum physicists know something you cannot value or calculate money. It is because quantum physicists are not doing like information technology and what Dr. Amit Goswami's mind, what he thinks before he sleeps. I want to sit down next to him having, sir, what are you thinking now? Because what they're thinking doesn't belong to the miniature, minuscule egg of your life and my life. They're thinking about the cosmic egg. They're also thinking, maybe Dr. Bernasha, while listening to these calls, he's looking beyond the time of 1 billion years behind. Probably strings and membranes, intersection of these membranes. What the hell could have happened? I am very sure they spent decades of their time thinking, visualizing, simulating more than the time we watched cricket and we are motivated by Bollywood movies. Please, one round of applause to the Mahatmas. It's an honor to be there and talk this ridiculous crap I am talking. It's an honor that I am in their presence. So I said Australia. The secret is, how did you know? Simple. The man, there is an ashtray on the table. When he asked the question, he just took the ashtray into his hand. Ashtray हाथ में लिया, ashtray लिया, तो Australia तो होगा. Question is, how is it possible? It is possible only because I thought if the universe is programmed. The days are getting very interesting, you know. The days were very challenging and interesting. It's like you observe and say, everything is God. Kalapurush aa jayenge, Varamihira told. You watch and tell. So it looks like events are this thing. I don't have access to certain laboratories. I don't know how to deal with particles. Nor I have the time that I can wait another 1,000 years for the quantum, probably some machines and advanced technologies to come in and we have entangled particle. I make cell phone call and actually the digital signal goes. And on the moon, my cousin picks up the phone. That's very far away. I want to live that great life right now. Deepak Chopra ji has written Quantum Leap Thinking and all that. Those wonderful books to read. They're motivating. But I have a business. I have a thing to carry on. People have day-to-day problems. And my thinking has to be modern. I'm not superstitious. I developed my own quantum physics like astrology. I had to come up with that. So one day this physics exam came. I had to write this physics exam and I didn't prepare at all. It's a practical exam. And then I was preparing and very seriously and all that, looking at the calculations, like some of the IITians here. Amazing guys. You know what? I wish I could be one of you. I didn't get admission. So one round of congratulations to all the IIT students here. What an amazing feat you have done. You know, wish I had some of the friends like, you know. So we are the BSc regular graduates trying to still learn physics. So it's an honor to be there, you know. So it's great to see IITians there. So what happened was that exam, I didn't know what exam. I was reading all the experiments. Suddenly, something tells me, sign of Virgo, sign of Virgo, sign of Virgo. I said, ये astrology ना पागलपन हो गया है. I'm totally gone crazy. I'm totally gone crazy. Why am I listening to sign of Virgo when I'm studying? I said, it won't go away. So what I did is, I took a pen and paper. I put the current planetary positions and I put sign of Virgo. Then I looked at it. The beauty I want to let you know today is, astrology is read wrong. Astrology is studied as an objective subject. I went to astrology conferences and told them, they were amazed. They said, this concept is 200 years ahead of us. First of all, astrology is a subjective science. Whether you believe in astrology, don't believe in astrology, this is not the dice for it. What I want to say is, when you look at a horoscope or a planetary thing, it is talking to you. Nature, the consciousness is talking to you, because like any other subject, astrology is also a product of the consciousness of the cosmic consciousness. It knows you created it, you gave it the symbols, you gave the assignments, you said this planet means this planet means this, Aries, Taurus, to everything, you have lordship, all the equations, you gave it, it will respond you back in the language it gave you. So the supreme consciousness is operating in such a subtle and wonderful and miraculous way to talk to you. So when I put the horoscope of the planetary positions, I know the art of reading it. The way I read chart is, mine is a conversational style, it's a subjective style. It is telling me, tomorrow, pick up the 5th paper, because Virgo is ruled by Mercury, Mercury's numerology number is 5. I can give you the whole algorithm for it. Pick up the 5th paper, and the question you are going to get look like Matsyantra from Mahabharata. That is a question. I said, what? 5th paper, what is Matsyantra? Matsyantra is, in Mahabharata, you have a fish on the top, and you have bow and arrow, and you shoot it. And Virgo and Pisces, that angle their position, Matsyam Yantram, Meen Rashi, and Chinese Matsyantram. So Matsyantra, north and south. So if it is north and south, should be a magnetic experiment. And with a mirror there, mirror and reflection, it should be MH magnetometer. That's the only one that is like Matsyantra. I went quickly and prepared. Next day, I picked the 5th paper, it is MH magnetometer. I was shocked. And after the practical exam, I wrote in the record, today I found there is a science that our science is not yet understanding. Today I got the answer in this conference. It is none other than consciousness and the quantum physics, the marriage of the two. It took me so many years to realize it. Every speaker who is speaking through, directly or indirectly, they are touching the inner deep collective consciousness of the cosmos. It's amazing. What if events are connected? What if, like they saying in astrology, what if events themselves are actually connected? What if there are connections? We do not know. There are many, many things that we do not know. Anyway, I'm not sure how much more time I have. So thank you. I'll take a few more minutes, not too long. But now that brings me, the moment we talk about consciousness, that brings me to a challenging question. Right now, we already discovered the act of observation alters the results. We also discovered the act of observation brings the results. Blown away by it. That should not be the case. Oh my God. That means so much. So is there a way, I have certain consciousness, so certain things are coming. If you know the art of knowing what to put your consciousness on, then you get desired results. Almost the scholars have touched that, and you can read Dr. Goswamiji's books and all that on that. So the life, the very essence today quantum physicists are focusing is they're bringing back certain truths that make a very fundamental difference. Yesterday, to quote Dr. Bernard, he talked about virtual reality of the universe. Do you have an idea what he's saying? He's saying it's mind-blowing. I just want to re-emphasize. He welcomed us one more time to the reality show of life. Remember, it's show, it's a Maya. Reality show. He's saying that it's a reality show. Remember that. Quantum physicists are saying it's a reality show. There is a Jim Carrey movie also. He has a whole movie and suddenly steps out. It's actually nothing but a set. It's like you are in a room, it is raining and you are enjoying the clouds and all that you enjoyed. So let's say in your backyard, and suddenly you go out of the house and you see somebody set up clouds and rain for you. It's actually not raining. So what the hell? Who could have done that? You question it, right? Likewise, what if this universe itself is a virtual reality or created algorithm somewhere? If it is true, there is only one possibility. They are so intelligent that they'll give you a degree of freedom. They will give you a degree of freedom to create and make your choices, make you feel so good as if you have a free will. Maybe the universe itself is deterministic. If they're the super consciousness, they should be so smart, basically, right? So probably some of the yogis and Mahatmas have given Patanjali Yoga Sutras. If you go into Patanjali Yoga Sutras, is one of the amazing metaphysical, psychological treatise more than yoga. There are some secrets in there. But thanks, Dr. Goswamiji, for quote. Again, he mentioned Patanjali Yoga Sutra. I felt very delighted when he said Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Please read again. Is very simple. Entire Patanjali Yoga Sutras are only two formulae. Formula number 1, learn the art of focusing. Number 2, decide what you want to focus on. Simple. You focus, gain dharana or samyama, they call it. Meditate. Learn how to meditate. Then pick the object of meditation. Once you pick an object of meditation, for example, na pichakrena kaya vyuha jnanam. You go and meditate on the navel. Then you understand the anatomy of the body. Surya dwaram. Then you understand the entrance to Brahmaloka. Like what they are telling you. Even the yoga that is so famous in the West, if you remember just one more point, if you spend one more minute, what is Padmasana? The Padmasana is a lotus posture. Why lotus? Every time you sit in the posture of a lotus, there is a cosmic configuration and energy programmed in the so-called universe, the energy that belongs and the functional calls that have to happen pertaining to that particular geometrical three-dimensional configuration will be coming to you as a functional formulae, and you will be enjoying the blissful results of that. That's what it is. So every time you are doing Makarasana, you are becoming like a crocodile, you are sitting at a crocodile, so you are invoking the natural energy of the crocodiles that have already been created much more millions of years ago along with you. Nature knows what they are, and you are trying to imitate and pretend to nature that I am also a crocodile for that particular moment. You are invoking the conscious energy of that, not materialistic energy, conscious energy of that, and you are downloading it into you. That means when magnetism was first shown or seen, people were shocked. How this object, they almost thought it is magic. North Pole, South Pole moving each other without touching. They thought it's magic. Electricity is a magic before you know. Consciousness is the magic of the day. Quantum physics is the magic science of the day. There will be Harry Potter movie of life today is quantum physics. Everything you see in quantum physics is possible today because of quantum physics. Harry Potter movies are possible. Michio Kaku wrote a book, a wonderful book, Physics of the Impossible. You read it, every possibility is, and hyperspace is my favorite one. Some of these things, they are saying that there is God, there is omnipresent consciousness and everything. What are the secrets of tapping it? Finally, that comes to the question, what is the art of doing it? First of all, remember, the secret is what you give is what you get, as simple as that. When you are living your life, you are creating a language, an algorithm. That is what going to come back to you. So I spent enough time. Nature has a way of recording events. They call it Akashic record somewhere. They call it whatever it is, like cellular memory. Human body has a memory. Even then, in the consciousness studies, if you talk to some of these scientists, some of the quantum physicists, and some of the research like Dr. Lange's biocentrism and all that, they're talking about brain doesn't have to be the important center of consciousness. Don't forget that. Brain does not have to be. If you look jellyfish, it doesn't have a brain. If you look single cell organisms, collectively they are working as colonies to form those thin layers to work and fight against all the environmental challenges. They are doing that. Likewise, you have to understand consciousness is within you, in every cell of you. It's with you. And it doesn't have to be confined to you. We are in a place, Kolkata, where Jagdish Chandra Bose proved, even a great scientist like René Descartes, my favorite in coordinate geometry, did a mistake of saying that animals don't have consciousness, and that led to killing of many animals in scientific experiments. He was blamed for it. But here, Jagdish Chandra Bose said, plants have life. It is so beautiful. I want to end this because there's no end to this. We'll take questions and answers. One interesting thing I want to share. First question is, I'm asking is, there was 300th birthday of earthquakes. I come from America. In California, we have the fancy habit of celebrating birthdays for earthquakes. Who will do that? We did that. On that day, there is an earthquake. I said, what the hell? Can't you guys go home and have lunch? You have to celebrate birthday of an earthquake and invoke it. My theory is your collective consciousness has invoked it because you are celebrating it. That is the reason in Calcutta you are worshipping murtis. Every time, remember, you have so many Kalijis and Saraswatis. Every murti is nothing but assumption of X. You are invoking that. When you are invoking that form, Khadgam Chakra Gadesha Chapa Parihan, Shulam Gusundim Siraha, Sankam Sandhatim, Karaistrinam, Sarvanga Bhushavrutam, Yam Hantum, Madhukaita Bhujaraj, Bustustava Sukteharo, Nilasmad Jyotimasya Padadashakam, Seve Mahakalikam. With the 10 feet in 10 dimensional space, she's walking around. When I'm calling that, when I'm chanting this shloka, like you do in a Java programming, you are calling a function, you are calling a method scientifically. Using my consciousness, I am invoking a functional call to the subatomic levels or the subconscious levels of the universe, where billions of people before already worshipped Kali and added more algorithm and code to it. I am just making that functional call, because God is also nothing but open source, and anybody can create a program and put it there and can be downloaded there. That's all we are trying to do. What can it's a functional call. You are using your consciousness to invoke. You go to Saundarlahari, the waves of beauty. The very word Shankaracharya is not an ordinary person to say that. He called Shiva Shaktya Yukto na Yadi Bhavati Shakta Prabhavitum. Saundarya Lahari, the waves of beauty. Waves. They know the waves. Waves, beautiful waves. Duality of particles and waves. And even look at the particles. When you look at their particles, we don't know the final results yet. I'm a layman like anybody else. When you look at its particle, when you don't, it's wave. Same like me. I woke up, I'm Madhu. When I'm sleeping, who am I? What's my identity? I am a wave. I am that wave that is moving in the infinite cosmos. I'm floating. When I exist, I make the function called I, the I coming active. When it's not, it's getting dormant. The secret of meditation is the ability to go into that dormant, inner, deep subconscious level. From there, you enter the cosmic conscious level and attain the results. In spirituality, it is nothing but first understand who you are. You start from the soul. From the soul, you move up to the physical body level, which has Kundalini, Muladhara, Swadhisthana, Anahata, Manipur, all those chakras, and you reach Sahasrara chakra. It's a functional, programmatically, invisibly. The chakras they talk in yoga are not physical chakras, but consciousness plane chakras. There is another dimension. So we are waiting to hear the discoveries of quantum scientists. What are the other universes? Where are the other dimensions? When will they show us? When will we know? When will we know the art of controlling atoms, nuclear weapons, and the fundamental behaviors, so world can be in peace? Thank you very much. Questions?
So we will have limited questions. So first question, please. I think 3 or 4 should be good enough.
Okay. I'll just take water, sir.
Thank you. Which one do you support, quantum physics or determinism? Because in your talk, I could find the flavors of both, right? Quantum physics as well as determinism. And I could see the glimpses of support for both of these. But you cannot be a supporter of both of these.
Sure.
Right. So which one do you support? Which one, like, bang on, like, here, I support this, I don't support this.
Sure. I asked equivalent question from my experience. Probably the answer could be great scientists here, but they can answer better. But to me, life or events, anything, is like traveling on a highway. I have to go from here to there on this highway. That is my destiny. It is determined. Within that, I have a choice which lane I go, how fast I go. The free will is a magic that is put as a paradigm and nicely into the destiny. Life to me is destined, but designed it so carefully, it doesn't look like it. Only one example I give is my daughter, little one, when she first time lost her tooth, we put money under pillow. We told tooth fairy came and put a gift or something like that. So we are making sure, oh, tooth fairy came. Like every Christmas, Santa Claus comes and you have gifts. Is Santa Claus coming? No. So God wants, our super consciousness wants to make you feel that everything is happening, and you have to enjoy the beauty of life. The beauty is to enjoy the beauty of life. There is a poet in my language, Telugu, called Chalam. He was an examiner for an exam. All the kids are writing the exam. Through the window, while watching, he is doing nothing. Through the window, he saw this beautiful rose. He loved the rose. He remembered the rose he gave to his girlfriend and had great memories. After the exam done, he goes out to take the bicycle, and he wants to see that rose one last time. When he goes and sees the rose, it's not a rose, but a pink paper, somebody threw it. Damn! I wish I assumed it as a rose. I enjoyed so much. If it's a paper, I didn't know. All these philosophers are killing life by telling us it's a midya, midya, midya. How beautiful I can assume that it is not midya. Life is not midya. I am not born to die. Thankfully, quantum physicists like Dr. Lanza's biocentrism, they're saying you're not dying. I'm eternal. So I believe it's all programmed, but so it's all deterministic, but so well programmed that you do not even know that it's programmed. That's the beauty of it. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Sir,
Yes.
I have a question, sir. Sir, the topic of this conference is, as we can see, quantum physics and consciousness.
Exactly.
So the moment when we are putting these two things together, if I call them two things, so I would like to know that what elements of quantization are we associating with consciousness, or what would you like to associate as a consciousness?
Beautiful. Actually, to this question, a lot of the speakers have answered much more efficiently than me. But to me, one aspect of quantum physics fascinates me from experience, not bookish knowledge. Observation is an amazing word. I have a fancy for observation. When you look at things, nature somehow knows you are looking at it. I was telling you some of my experiences in omens. That's what they say in spirituality. Okay, what will happen? You are looking at an omen. Something will be happening. The moment you are observing, nature is becoming conscious like a beautiful girl. Oh, the boy is watching me. She's looking extra a little bit. Oh, I don't look at me. She's going, right? That thing nature does. At that minute we catch it, the twist and the spark. The purpose of life and spirituality is not to find the greatness of God, but the naughtiness of God. I want to catch God as Krishna. I want to catch him doing those naughty and funny things. That's what it is about. Observation.
Sir, you are saying like the role of observer is very much integrated into nature and everything.
Absolutely. Observer is so important. So that brings to the fundamental question, who observed the first time? The observer who came, and so the observer came into the existence, and the observer is still being observed and observation happening. I do not know.
Yes.
I am still wondering. I am still observing you, so I do not know. I am just an observer and passerby.
So it's like a spiral of words.
Exactly. No spiral of words. That's how my consciousness is working. What should I do? Infinite loop programmed person. They programmed me like that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next. Yes, sir, please. You want a mic? He wants a mic.
Sir, you mentioned about the act of observation, okay, and the two examples that you have given while you are doing your kind of astrology things. It was basically those meaningful coincidences which you are referring. So that has been mentioned by Carl Jung as a synchronicity, right? So basically you want to say the people who are observing well, they're basically observing the act of synchronization. So a person who's studying psychology or Carl Gustav Jung could be a good astrologer in that way?
Exactly. 100%. I agree with you. The incidents I have quoted are again observations only. They come from a personal experience only. I cannot call them an authority yet, because the problem we have is we do not have, I'm telling you, I'm not at a level I have access to CERN or the laboratories that they have, entanglement going on. I like to get, if any of them give me a chance, I would like to join myself as a PhD student and observe it. Nor I have access to the astrophysics concepts of the universe. I didn't have access because I didn't have time or opportunity to get there. I am also interested in a personal level in my own life first. People here today are struggling in this world about the damn life. How am I going to live I wake up in the morning, people call, sir, my father is in the ICU, he's going to die. So doctors cannot do anything, this thing, everybody is trying everything, he needs it. So we are stuck in a world where we need some alternative and we are looking for it. Okay, so I answered first part of it. Second part of it is, my concern is, I gave only 2 examples, but I can share with you, you can contact me. There are thousands of examples that are surprising to me. I am also like you saying that they should not be correct. I am going with an idea that should not be the case. It's becoming the case. So I am also asking everyone, not so bad. Why is it so? So I'm still doing research. I'm still learning. I'm still a student.
This just could be a confirmation bias from all the millions of random events which happens. We have a tendency of giving meaning to everything. So
Absolutely.
this just could be a random event, right?
100%. 100%. But there are some, to bring to the real world of quantum physics, there are some randomness experiment, thought experiment that are conducted. Those results apparently, as I read it, it is showing that human beings are altering even the randomness. For example, in my own business, we deal with something called random number generator, RNG chip in the casino business. We do so many experiments, they are really random, but the advanced studies are showing that some of the thoughts are impacting the randomness also. So these, whatever is happening through these events, they may not be random. So what is even random? So the quantum physics is questioning, is anything random? So some of those things are fundamental questions we are still asking. When a particle is going through two holes and intersecting with itself and forming an interfere pattern right there, it seems to know what's going on there. How is it possible when it's not equipped? So there is another dimension to everything we are seeing. I took in management, they teach us metaphorical analysis and paradigm shift. So I use my MBA thing, totally bring a new subject that is unconnected, use that paradigm and see what happens. So this is also my experiment. Yeah, I agree humbly that these are not authorities, nor I am an authority, definitely. It should not be also. But more experiments should be conducted in different fields, probably from scientific perspective, from medical perspective and all that, what their observations are. Thank you very much. हाँ जी।
ईश्वर को भी पता नहीं है कि वह अगले क्षण में क्या करने जा रहे हैं। पहला स्टेटमेंट डिटर्मिनिज्म को लेकर आपने बोला, उसके लिए जिन्होंने सौंदर्य लहरी लिखी उन्होंने रखा श्लोकार्धेन प्रवक्ष्यामि यदुक्तम शास्त्रकोटिभिः ब्रह्म सत्यम जगन मिथ्या. You have used the word mithya without properly understanding it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. No.
Shall I explain you?
No, absolutely, Swamiji.
Brahma dancing, so dancing is mithya. Mithya is the expression of the Lord so beautifully. It is the song of the Lord. It is the fragrance of the Lord. Nam rupatmakam jagat. Gacchati iti jagatah. Sansarati iti sansarah. Those who have interpreted mithya in the wrong way. Mithya means elaboration. On the dancing Shiva, अखंड रूप शिवा द्वितीय का चांद उनका अलंकार है, वैसे ही मिथ्या जगत उस शिव का अलंकार है.
Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you very, very much. This is the advantage of having a conference like this, where we can have the presence of great Mahatmas like Swamiji, who is honest, truthful and wonderful with a great depth of knowledge. Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you very much. And don't forget, the word myth came from mithya. Such is the beauty of the language. They have same roots. Mythological, myth is mythological, and mithya. Mithya is nothing but the illusion in the computer science world. That's the GUI, the graphic user interface you have. Behind the GUI, if you go down, what you have a hardware. On the hardware you have all the chipsets. What happens there is 0 ones and 0 ones. That is a binary language. Just like this universe, 0 I don't exist, 1 I exist. Ekameva adviti ekam. There is only one God, but he is distributing himself as multiple zeros and ones, forming this visual GUI of existence of the cosmos. Thank you very much, Swamiji. Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you
honored.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madhu Babu.
Thank you, sir.
Now, we are getting late, so I will request Professor Sudipta Ghosh. I have already introduced him, so let us hear Sri Sudipta Ghosh.
So respected Swamijis, respected Mundraji, and my colleagues and my dear students. So हमको मालूम है हम क्या करने जा रहे हैं अभी. So next half an hour हम आपको थोड़ा बोर करेंगे. So yeah. So actually this is in a way my struggle to understand quantum mechanics, and from the very first year of my BTech, and I was struggling very hard and interacting with many physicists and professors and senior students, and all I was getting is all those bra and kit and more formalism. and which, I mean, of course, we can understand those things, but the way I learned classical mechanics from the Halide Resnick, or then going through the problems of our, you know, the Agarwal classes and YG file brilliant tutorials, and then Iridov. So I was not getting the same kind of the clarity of the picture, and I had given up actually. So after a long time, it's then it was the time that I started understanding and getting, I mean, training of Vedanta from Srila Prabhupada, from various saintly people, and in particular Dr. T.D. Singh. And then from Vedanta, then I could very easily understand, comprehend some of the concepts of quantum mechanics. And basically, this is a journey of Vedantist, you know, walks into wonderland of quantum physics. So, yeah. So Vedas have a different meaning. I mean, literally it means, translates as a book of knowledge, but it's basically knowledge with divine origin. Anything you write technically possible, in my opinion, is not Vedas. Vedas is something which has a divine origin. And if God is there, if we believe in God, then God can give us knowledge also. So there is no inconsistency in that. And Shruti means that is heard actually. So earlier days, people had a fantastic memory. Even 100 years back and 200 years back, you will hear a Brahmin who doesn't know any English, and two Englishmen are fighting, and he has such a wonderful memory. He goes to the court and tells each and every sentence about it. So there are many stories about this, and even like Professor Satyen Bose, you know, translating. So one speaker, you know, son-in-law of Madame Curie and Pierre Curie, I mean, he came and he was just testing his memory. He spoke for half an hour, and then Professor Bose will just reproduce it, you know. So so as days are going, so Vyasdev could understand that the memory of people are going to fall apart, and he basically scripted down everything and divided into 4 Vedas, and then he wrote the Vedanta also. Now what is this Vedanta? Veda and Anta. Veda means any kind of knowledge. You want to defeat your enemy, you want to have a lot of wealth, you want to have good health, everything is Vedas. But Anta means what is the end, that conclusion. That's called Vedanta, and broadly, or in the literal meaning, any literature that gives conclusive knowledge is Vedanta. And like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, or any scriptures, Ishopanishad, and in particular, Vedanta refers to the Vedanta Sutra, which was written by Vyasdev, which has approximately 550, some say it is 555, there are some different opinions. Okay, so there are different commentaries, and I will quickly, you know, go through them. I mean, I'm just mentioning. So there are different commentaries by great acharyas. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said that actually, he was also in the line of Madhvacharya. He said there is no need of writing commentary, because Srimad Bhagavatam, which is, you know, the according to him the highest and the topmost scriptures, Vyasdev himself writes that if you consider the Vedas to be the tree, it is the ripened fruit of that. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that is the natural commentary. The Vedanta Sutra is written by Vyasdev and Srimad Bhagavatam, so there is no need. So he did not write any commentary. So although he was the most brilliant scholar of his time, you know, you all know the story of him at the age of 10 or 12 defeating the Digvijay Pandit. Much later, many generations, spiritual generation, Baldev Vidyabhushan, he was sort of forced because he was challenged by some other sections of the spiritual traditions that show me if your parampara is there, where is the commentary? And then actually in the Jaipur, he said, okay, he promised that I will produce it in just, you know, few days. And then he was crying to the Govindaji that what can I do? Then Govindaji said, okay, you sit down, I will dictate you. So and that is actually the commentary of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's parampara, and that's named as, so he named it as Govinda Bhashya. So now quickly, yeah. So now definitely like, this tradition of our Vedic tradition has given a lot of things. Philosophy, art, Sanskrit is the only which is perfect, the scientific language. You cannot find a language like that. And Ayurveda, medicines, Patanjali, yoga, and you will find a lot of physics about description about atom and calculation of time from atoms and many things. Our thing is rich in that. And even we recently, it was our group which proved that actually ancient Indians were making nanoparticles. So it was like 2007 we published a paper on that, and very few people know that calculus was very much there, and this area of a sphere recently we heard Professor H.C. Verma, a beautiful lecture and one of the best orators I have heard. So he spoke about this. See, this area of a sphere is 4 pi r square, so everybody knows that, but you cannot arrive at it without integration. So, and actually Bhaskaracharya, he did that and he divided the whole region, and then that n tending to infinity, he did everything. So all these were there actually. And we had this mass destruction, and plundering of all our scriptures, burning, Nalanda was burned for 11 months. But in spite of that, Jeev Goswami commented that still 7% things are available. Now Vedanta is, now this is a little bit boring maybe, or maybe interesting, but Vedanta basically talks about 10 ways of acquiring any knowledge. And scholars have said that actually basically it does 3 ways: Pratyaksha, Anumana and Shabda. Okay? So Pratyaksha means direct observation. Anumana means no direct observation but inference. Okay? And yesterday our Swamiji, Brajapati Swamiji, Vasudeva, he explained this, what are the problems with Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha is something which there is direct sense observation, and you cannot say that everything what exists will be actually captured by your senses. That's neither any spiritual tradition, religious tradition, or non-scientific tradition is going to accept it. So till some time, science, from the time post-Renaissance period, earlier they were most concentrating on what they can observe, the planets, the classical objects moving around. But then the modern science also entered into started talking about objects which are invisible, talking about atoms, talking about electrons, and trying to understand and make pictures of this. So this is the method of inference. That means based on what you are observing, you try to infer something which you are not observing. So now the Vedantist Alice walks into the wonderland of modern physics and quantum physics along with a physicist friend. Okay? And the physicist friend will start explaining him the modern science and quantum physics, and the Vedantist is actually now understanding that what quantum physics is. So we usually hear from quantum physics, you get some indication about Vedanta, or we understand Vedanta. Here it's opposite. The Vedantist is trying to understand, and it will see it's very easy for the Vedantist to actually understand what is there in the modern science. So physicist friends teaches Vedantist science before Dalton, and whatever he's observing and putting in the pendulum, the planetary motions, and the Vedantist says, yes, this is Pratyaksha, and I know all this sort of mathematics also. So already, so although Indian physicists and scientists may not be aware, but we were very great in mathematics. We only know about zero and infinity and things like that, but as I just said, that we were knowing very well what is calculus. So the physicist friend, yes, modern science recognizes that there is a world. So this went below the PowerPoint. So the Vedantist is asking, what about the world which we are not seeing? So the physicist says, yes, the modern science recognizes that there is a world beyond our senses. Let me teach you quantum physics. Let's see the difference between classical objects and electrons. So he starts here. And the physicist friend, cautions that there are complex number and there are all kinds of differential equation, abstract mathematics, So all kinds of geometries are there. And then he says, well, the complex number enters the arena and it comes out finally. Finally, there is no complex number, but intermediately, you need complex number. So the Vedantist says, don't worry. See, I am a believer of God, and Creator is intelligent and a mathematician. So I am not puzzled by any kind of mathematics behind the nature. So that is a big difference. When you look from a theistic perspective, and if you don't look it from from a theistic perspective, and for a theist, he can understand that this smartest and the most intelligent mathematician is there, so you must expect all kind of, and he's not surprised when you say that this complex number is governing this physical world. Now let's see, you have a system. So in classical physics, you have a system of particles, and how do you define the state? By the position and by the momentum. So it's very important that at every moment, this camera can actually record the complete state, which we call as the phase space of the classical system of particles. And complete information is there at any instant. And very important that this camera is not disturbing also the state of the particles. You are watching the cricket match, so your observation is not going to disturb the course of the ball, or the cameras which are recording the match, they are not going to influence they are not going to disturb the swing of the ball or influence it. Now, the physicist friend explains that there are three problems in the case of electrons. The number one problem is there is no direct observation. There is no direct observation. And it's only inference using ideal experiment. Ideal experiment means, what are ideal experiments? Ideal experiment means they are classical objects. They are classical objects, they follow the classical laws, and ideal means there is no error in there. There is no error, everything is precise. Now there is another problem in the case of electrons. Some observables can be measured simultaneously and some cannot. So for a classical particle, so you can actually at any time, you can know all the position variables, you can know all the momentum, and you know in the case of projectile motion, if the position and the velocity or the momentum is known, and the force is known, the entire trajectory is known. That's why it's a complete state. You say if the initial state is known, all the states at different times is known. So here, you cannot do that. So this is a very basic difference. And last, very interesting, the simple act of observation, it changes the state. This doesn't happen in the classical world. Okay, even if there is something, we don't assume that in the classical physics. So this is the basic three difference. And so this is very important that we do not have any direct observation about the world of molecules, atoms, and electrons. So you can say it's all imagination, whatever you can think. Okay? So ideal experiment I have explained. So now this is very interesting. Then what is an electron? You have this kind of picture, like it's an object, it's a particle, it has a mass, it has a charge. So this kind of picture is now no more there. So what is there? It's just a field which is called the wave function. Why we call it the wave function? Because it evolves according to the wave equation, and it's defined everywhere. It's defined in the entire universe. It's just a field. There is no particle there. Nothing is there. All it says is just a field, and it's defined in the entire universe. So somewhere this wave function can have high, some more value, somewhere it can have less magnitude, but in principle it is defined everywhere. So this is, and it evolves according to the Schrodinger equation, and there is no probability in Schrodinger equation, it is perfectly a deterministic. It's just like the heat transfer equation, the wave equation. So if you know the initial condition, the boundary conditions, you can predict how it goes actually. Now, so this kind of picture for the system of particle now is not there. You have to just give up with this kind of picture. And no imagination, just an imagination. And many physicists, I mean the quantum physicists, they say you really don't know what is happening there. All you know is what you are observing. What is there behind, you really don't know. So that thing is lost. And there is a statement by Bohr, just shut up and calculate. That means you don't now put any picture in the mind. So it's just this, and what is this superposition principle? So I'll just, without going to the mathematics, it just tells you that given the wave function, what are the possible outcome with what probabilities, that's all. So now here comes the probability. When you do the measurement, then suppose it's a dice, so dice can have 6 outcomes, each with a probability of 1/6. So this is what you can tell if the wave function is given to you. And now when you make the measurement, so this is called the superposition principle. The slides, they are actually going below actually, I mean I don't know. This is a projector problem, okay. So this is what is actually the superposition principle. So you can tell, you can actually split the wave function into components, and each component corresponds to one outcome. And the last, but the very important, is the reduction postulate, is that once you observe, then the wave function actually immediately changes. So otherwise the wave function is evolving according to the Schrodinger equation in a very continuous fashion. But at the moment of observation, so the Schrodinger equation, the control from the Schrodinger equation is taken. And a very simple analogy I can give you, in a projectile motion, you can write the equation for the two particles, but at the time of collision, a different thing takes over. The interaction forces are very large, and you apply the law of conservation of momentum, and again the particle follows the projectile motion. So at the time of the momentum, there is a discontinuous change in the wave function, and depending on what is the outcome. So you know what was the wave function and what were the possible outcomes. Now you have done the measurement and you know what is the outcome, and so the reduction postulate tells that the wave function has undergone a discontinuous transformation. So you are seeing that psi1, so psi1 corresponds to the value of 1, and if your dice experiment, if you get 1, then the psi will now become psi1. If you get 2, then the psi will become psi2. So this is the reduction postulate. Huh? Oh, okay. It's okay. Now let me tell you something. I may still, because nobody actually knows quantum mechanics, but this whole idea, I was really confused. I went through many books of quantum mechanics, but the basic idea that the wave function is something which is not in a physical quantity. It is not like it's not an electric field, it is not a magnetic field. And I really, the whole interest came by reading one article by Professor Amit Goswami, that actually the wave function resides in a different plane, and there I could really start finding some meaning to this actually. So before that I had read many books, and I think we should give a good hand to Professor Amit Goswami. He is there, and okay, now the physicist friend informs our this, the friend that there are different interpretations, and for last 2 days you are hearing that there are different interpretations. And he says that there is a total chaos now with all kinds of different interpretation. And this is Einstein's EPR paradox, which was actually, then Bell worked on it, and then there's aspect experiment. So here it's actually, without going into much mathematics, that it is, it's like that if you know the total momentum, suppose the two particles are coming out, one is positron and one is electron. So if you know that total momentum, which is actually zero because it starts from a rest, then if you know the spin or position of one, you will know the spin or position of the other. So now the basic argument was that if they are very far away and you are doing a observation very far away on that side, and this side also is therefore you know what is the outcome there. So in a way you are having information. So I hope you followed that if you know the spin or the position of one of the particles very far away on that side, you have information about the position or the spin of the other particle which is on the other side. So here, now the question is that Aspect, did a very nice experiment, and he actually showed that yes. So Einstein was basically bringing this causality. That means nothing can move faster than the light. So how can you have an information from that side to here at a speed faster than the light? But actually, Aspect established this. So what actually essentially it means that the entire sort of space is in sort of interconnected. Okay, so there are lot of interpretations, and now coming to the main theme, the Vedantist, now he looks at it. He says now he understands quantum physics somewhat, and he says this chaos is natural, and let me now give my opinion about the thing. So this is basically the Vedantic perspective to the quantum physics, and of course, I mean it is my understanding of Vedanta and my understanding of quantum physics, both which are going to have definitely limitations. And it is also possibly partly source of chaos you are also seeing in every spiritual conference. We see that it's all conferences, like this, and organized by Bhaktivedanta Institute, because Bhaktivedanta Institute is like an open forum. So we have from all different spiritual and religious groups, you can see always Advaita and Dvaita. This conflict will always come. And the Vedantist is actually saying that it is the reason of this chaos in the quantum interpretation is also the chaos in the spiritual community. The same reason, and he comes to that. And here it is. So the basic thing which Vedantic and the scholars like Jeev Goswami and all the scholars, Madhvacharya, they are pointing out, this Anumana, the inferential knowledge, has limitation. It has limitation. So Pratyaksha is limited, and yesterday our Swamiji, Brajapati Swamiji, Vasudev Rao, he actually explained what are the problems. So this is very important, because the method of inference, you see on that side there is a puppet show going on. So you are seeing the puppet, but what is behind, can anybody tell? Whether it's a machine or it's a human being, or it's a girl or a boy or just a robot, you cannot say this. So inference will have a limitation. It's like the 5 blinds. There are 4 blinds or 5. It's 4 actually. I heard about 5. They are touching an elephant, and somebody is saying it is like this. Other is saying it is like this. So we don't have direct exposure. Then this is the problem. Or there is a rat trap, and you have a mouse trap you have kept in the kitchen, and you have a machine, and as soon as the rat is there, going and touching the food, immediately you come to know. But suppose it can be a human being just putting his finger there, he doesn't know, and he's caught, and he says, okay, rat is caught. Because you have made the rat trap, mouse trap, actually thinking about a mouse. So here, you are presupposing. So when I am doing the measurement, what is my what handle I have? I have some measuring instruments. These are classical. I don't have any other way. I have to have some picture when I do the inference. Radar is also inference. In the night you can see it in the room, and the radar is outside, you come to know. But you know what is an aircraft, you know that. You must have some conception what you are going to measure. So my measuring instrument is, presupposing that electron is a particle while designing the measurement. So this is the problem. And therefore you can have all kinds of interpretations. These people are very intelligent people. Why they are having so many different interpretations? Because it is not possible. The saintly people in the Shankara line, they are very intelligent. Those in the Madhva line, they are very intelligent. So when you try by going by your own intelligence, then and you are trying to understand about something on which you don't have any direct observation, you are bound to have all kinds of interpretation is bound. So that is the reason of, so the Vedantist, actually he looks into the picture. Now the Vedantist friend, actually Vedanta means, now this conference is on consciousness, so Vedanta is actually the Vedantic view. Vedanta is not just only talking about consciousness, it is talking about, because you cannot separate consciousness and matter. You cannot do that because they are interconnected. They are separate, they may be separate, but they are interconnected. I am a conscious being, and when I want, my hand is moving. So they are connected phenomena, and the Vedantic friend is actually giving how the hierarchy of different, the levels of existence, and ultimately it is the consciousness. And then now here there is a difference. I mean, the Advaita Vedanta can talk about only single consciousness, and the Dvaita, and in that line, or Vishishta Advaita, they talk about two consciousness, the interaction between two consciousness. It's like two persons are, exchanging information, thoughts, emotions. The same way, the individual spark and the supreme consciousness, they are exchanging the ideas, thoughts, emotions, feelings. And like our previous speaker, he was talking about, so you can actually, the God is trying to hide. So this is the kind of information you have. So here, this pointer is not working. So this is the supreme consciousness, and this is a individual consciousness, and here we have something called false ego. False ego means the individual entity. Yesterday Professor Badu was talking about I and me. So what I understood, that me is actually the false ego. And your false ego can be different. Whatever conception you have about yourself is actually called the false ego. So now if you wear very good dress and you are staying in a very good hotel, you will have a different kind of false ego. You are traveling in a nice, a Dreamliner or a nice aircraft, you will have something. You are flying in a very ordinary aircraft, or you are traveling by the local train, you have a different kind of feeling for me, and this is the false ego actually. And then the intelligence. Intelligence means all kind of information is stored there. So you can see the different element is having in the Vedanta, and this is actually Sankhya, different kind of attributes. So you can have substances with real existence which only have information. They don't have mass or they don't have thing, but they are real and they have information. Okay? And then you have, these are also subtle, these are not, you call this senses. Senses are not these physical senses, these are subtle things. And a very important thing is that this, all this blue region, this is the subtle region, this is actually non-local. Non-local means they don't have, you know, spatial existence. This is non-local. So now and let me state something. Like Sushant just, you know, made a very interesting point about the definition of mathematics. That is very important. Mathematics is not simply just 1 + 1 = 2. Mathematics is a structured, logical, you know, formalism. My previous speaker was talking about astrology, right? So you are an astrologer? We'll sit maybe today night someday. So at one time I was also doing a lot of astrology, and my BTech batchmates had named me Horo. Then that I will not mention that. Something. So because my students are there, children are also there. So you know, there's a very interesting thing. When two planets with different characteristics, their personification is very important. In the, at least the school of Srila Prabhupada, Dr. T.D. Singh is always to say that behind everything there is a personality. And he will say that mathematics is just a impersonal aspect of the general sound music, you know. It's very, very interesting actually. So there, you know, if you know that, just like, you know, if you have two persons of a different nature, if you make them sit, you know what is going to happen. It's structured, it's not random. So we don't have to put everything in form of a complex number of a real number. Mathematics is something more. In abstract mathematics, we have many things. We don't know the physical counterpart. Even the complex number, we don't know what is the physical counterpart. Do you know what is minus? Minus for under root, minus 1, you don't know. But there are certain rules, and what we engineers and scientists we do usually, in the end we extract some real number out of it, because we understand what is real number. We'll say the operators have to be Hermitian, and then therefore the eigenvalues are real, and then we get the real. So that's what we do in the end. But so we need definitely a more higher form of structured mathematics to actually describe these kind of interactions. These are very, very well classified. Okay. So now another thing which the Vedantic friend is telling, that this is the theistic way of analysis. Usually in the modern science, you can make a very clear difference between the Vedantic model of life and matter and the modern scientific. In the modern scientific, everything is bottom up. If I want to see why my finger is moving, no, I have to basically start from the collection of electrons and nucleus. I do the quantum calculation, and then I come to how the atoms are interacting and the molecules are interacting, then how the cell is behaving, and then what is happening at the tissue level. We come up like this. Anything, you solve a problem, there's a liquid there, when it will melt, you will first go to the electronic structure. Right, Professor Das, I'm correct? Then you will find what is the thing happening at that level, and then you will try to come up at the macroscopic level. But if you look at the Vedantic model, in Bhagavad Gita also Lord Krishna is telling that Indrani Paranahaur, I mean the senses are higher than the body, the mind is higher than the senses, and intelligence is higher and the soul is the highest. So there is a hierarchy. And if you look at us, I mean, I just wish to throw a stone and disturb a very nice fish, you can see this in the morning time, this golden fish, they are coming out in the grass. They are coming out quite outside the water. It's very, 2 times I saw this. So now you want to disturb. You will start from electrons, or rather you will start from that by consciousness at the level it is coming, and that is getting translated down there actually. So now if you look at, so that what it implies, there is a universal plan, and then the movements of the cloud, and then you come to the PVT state, then come to the classical interaction of the atoms, and then come to the quantum. So it is, so we have never thought, but actually if you look at the Vedantic, the structure and the Sankhya structure, it is going like this and like this also. Okay, so that's one thing, and a very critical difference. And this non-locality is very interesting. Subtle elements are non-local, and so here, so the physicist friend actually recognizes that, yes, so that can explain maybe the aspect experiment. And then the Vedantist is telling, yes, that when Yudhishthira was actually asked by Yaksha, you all know the incidents. So all his brothers, they were dead actually because then the Yaksha said, you have to answer these 10 questions, then only you can take water and I will make your brothers alive. And then he was asked that what is faster than air or pavan? And Yudhishthira's answer was mind. But what I understand is that mind is itself a non-local kind of thing, and so therefore 2 points at a very far distance. So not just air, it is even faster than that of the velocity of a light. So actually the space is interconnected. Okay, so that's the message coming from the Vedanta, and I just want to just say very importantly, I think I'm trying to maintain the time. The quantum view has a lot of scope of modification. Already there is a lot of modification that has gone into, and a very interesting thing is that the consciousness is actually, if you look at the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu school, it is personality, and personalities can act as robot. Robot cannot act as personalities. So it is possible because it is said that the sound means it conveys some idea. In the Bhagavat and the Vedanta, the sound does not mean just any sound. It means it conveys some message. It's important. We don't understand raga. Most of us don't understand ragas. When 2 musicians, they are actually exchanging, they are doing jugalbandi, can most of us understand? We don't understand. The tabalji does something, and immediately the sitarist, he is shaken actually, by some ecstatic feeling. You can see that, and he gives something, and the tabalji is, immediately, something is moved actually. We cannot understand. There is a modern art going on. The other artists can appreciate this. So everywhere actually there is some language and some purpose and some communication taking place between, as per the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu school of Vedanta, between that infinite intelligence and the individual intelligence. It's always going on, and that's the purpose of this universe. So Dr. T.D. Singh used to say that not Big Bang but big vision. So behind this universe there is a big vision, because Big Bang is, there are a lot of problems with the Big Bang theory. So this is like that, and I will conclude by saying that Bhagavata Sankhya has gives potential concepts and role of conscious dynamics. There is a very interesting thing of top-down laws. The laws itself, not just our knowledge, but the basic laws can be also top-downs, and very important that the fundamental properties are more. In quantum mechanics, actually, what happens? Nobody knows what is behind. So it's not denying the objective reality, but But one can feel that, okay, nothing is there because complex number, so nothing is there. So it's shunya in that way also. But you can also, as I said, that neti neti, not Calcutta does not imply not Kanpur. So there is also a possibility that what Shankya says, there are many kinds of qualities at the basic fundamental levels. And so with that, I will urge the younger generation and all of us, why younger generation? Everybody that to also look into the Bhagavad model about the universe and consciousness. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ghosh. Now, we are very tight on time. We are running very late. So I would give the presentation, mementos, to Dr. Ghosh and Madhu Babu. And then Dr. Ghosh will be here in a session where a discussion will be there.
Yeah, panel discussion.
Actually, I am going to sit with my Guruji,
I see.
Professor Amit Goswami, so I will be just going with him now.
So your questions can be put to you
later on,
later on also. And because we are very eager to start next session, and we have Swamiji, we are very eager to hear him and other speakers in next session. So quickly have, maybe in 10 minutes, if you can make, please come after having tea. And immediately then we will start.
You please remain seated. Let us finish this. May I now request Sri Raj Gopal Sureka ji, Secretary, Bharatiya Sangha Sansad, please come and give a memento to Dr. B.D. Mundra ji. Thank you, sir.